Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto had smoke manipulation jutsu? Subscribe if you enjoy the video. And also check the description. So let's begin the story. The sun blazed harsh and unforgiving over Konohagakure, casting razor-sharp shadows across the weathered faces of the Hokage monument. 12-year-old Naruto Uzumaki sprinted through the dusty streets, his orange jumpsuit a defiant splash of color against the village's muted palette. Behind him, the angry shouts of shopkeepers grew louder. "Get back here, you little demon! Someone stop that brat!" Naruto's lungs burned as he pumped his legs harder, heart hammering against his ribs. The paint can dangling from his fingertips spattered vivid red droplets across the ground, marking his escape route like drops of blood. The crude whiskers he'd painted across the third Hokage's stone face had been his best work yet, and his worst mistake. "Just you wait!" Naruto shouted over his shoulder, his voice cracking with a confidence he didn't truly feel. "When I become Hokage, you'll all be sorry." The words tasted hollow on his tongue. Empty threats from an empty vessel, that's all they saw when they looked at him. Naruto ducked into a narrow alley, chest heaving as he pressed his back against the rough wall. The cool shade offered momentary relief, but the respite was short-lived. "There he is!" A chunin with a face like folded paper appeared at the alley's entrance, flanked by two villagers with steel in their eyes. "Nowhere to run now, fox brat." Fear lanced through Naruto's chest, not the playful nervousness of a prankster caught in the act, but something deeper and more primal. The chunin's hand moved to his weapon's pouch, and Naruto felt something inside him twist violently. His skin prickled with sudden heat. The air around him thickened, shimmered, and then, whoosh, dense, pewter gray smoke erupted from Naruto's body, billowing outward in a violent rush that filled the narrow alleyway. The chunin and villagers recoiled, coughing and cursing as the acrid cloud enveloped them. Naruto stared at his hands in shock, watching as wisps of smoke curled between his trembling fingers like living things. His heart thundered in his ears. "What's happening to me?" In the confusion, his instincts took over. He darted past the blinded pursuers and escaped into the labyrinth of Konoha's back streets, the mysterious smoke dissipating behind him like a ghost. "Fail!" The word slammed into Naruto like a physical blow. Iruka-sensei's face remained impassive, but disappointment radiated from him in palpable waves. "Naruto, you failed to produce even a single functional clone." Again, the pathetic, colorless copy of himself lay slumped on the academy floor like a deflated balloon. Around him, his classmates snickered behind cupped hands. Sasuke Uchiha merely looked away, as if Naruto's failure wasn't even worth acknowledging. "But Iruka-sensei," Naruto protested, his voice tight with frustration, "I've been practicing all week." "Not enough, clearly," Iruka replied, setting down his clipboard with a sigh. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but I can't pass you. The clone jutsu is a basic technique that every genin must master." Outside, the afternoon light glinted off newly distributed forehead protectors. The rhythmic tink-tink of metal against metal as proud students adjusted their headbands felt like needles in Naruto's ears. He sat alone on the solitary swing, watching families gather around their newly graduated children with beaming smiles and proud embraces. No one came for Naruto. "That's him," a woman whispered to her friend, not bothering to lower her voice enough. "The only one who failed." "Good," her companion replied. "Can you imagine if they let that one become a ninja?" "Sure. We're not supposed to talk about it." Naruto's fingernails dug crescents into his palms. The familiar ache in his chest throbbed in time with his heartbeat. "Naruto." A soft voice cut through his dark thoughts. Mizuki-sensei stood before him, silver hair catching the late afternoon light. His smile seemed kind, but something in his eyes reminded Naruto of a cat watching a wounded bird. "I want to talk to you." Night descended over the forest like a velvet shroud. Naruto hunched over the massive scroll, his fingers tracing the complex diagrams by moonlight. The scroll of sealing felt warm beneath his touch, almost alive, as if the forbidden techniques contained within it pulsed with their own heartbeat. "Multi-shadow clone jutsu," Naruto muttered, committing the hand signs to memory. "Not regular clones, solid ones. And it says here that the chakra is divided equally among them." Hours passed in a blur of practice and failures. Sweat plastered Naruto's blonde hair to his forehead as he formed the cross-shaped hand seal for the 100th time. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Poof! A dozen perfect copies of Naruto materialized around the clearing, each one solid and real, but something was wrong. Thin tendrils of gray smoke leaked from their skin, curling into the night air like beckoning fingers. Naruto stared in amazement as his clones examined themselves, smoke drifting from their fingertips. What the one clone poked another, and both dissolved into puffs of dense smoke. The sound of applause cut through Naruto's confusion. Well done! You've mastered a forbidden jutsu in just a few hours. Iruka-sensei stepped into the clearing, his face a storm cloud of conflicting emotions. Naruto, do you have any idea what you've done? Found you. Naruto jumped up, grinning ear to ear, oblivious to the gravity of the situation. Hey, Iruka-sensei. Watch this. I'm going to show you this amazing jutsu I learned, and then you'll have to let me graduate. The look on Iruka's face silenced him instantly. Naruto, who told you about the scroll? Who told you that stealing it would help you graduate? Mizuki-sensei, Naruto replied, confusion knotting his brow. He said it was a special test, and if I learned a jutsu from this scroll, you'd let me pass. The air between them shifted, charged with sudden tension. Iruka's eyes widened a fraction before he lunged toward Naruto, shoving him aside as a hail of kunai sliced through the space where they had been standing. I'm impressed you figured it out. Mizuki's voice drifted down from a tree branch. Moonlight gleamed off the massive shuriken strapped to his back. His lips curved into a smile that never reached his eyes. Now, Naruto, give me the scroll. Blood trickled down Iruka's arm where a kunai had found its mark. Don't give him the scroll, Naruto. He's using you to steal it. Run! Naruto froze, his world tilting on its axis. What's going on? Mizuki's laughter cut through the night like broken glass. Want to know why everyone in the village hates you, Naruto? Want to know why you're always alone? No, Mizuki! Iruka shouted. It's forbidden. 12 years ago, the nine-tailed fox attacked our village, Mizuki continued, ignoring Iruka's protests. You've been told the fourth Hokage killed it, but that's a lie. He couldn't kill it, he could only seal it away. Naruto's breath caught in his throat. He sealed it inside a newborn baby. Mizuki's eyes glittered with malice. Inside you, Naruto. You are the nine-tailed fox. The words hit Naruto like physical blows. Suddenly, everything made terrible sense: the cold stares, the whispers, the isolation. His hands began to shake. That's why no one wants you, Mizuki pressed on, twisting the knife. That's why Iruka hates you most of all. The fox killed his parents. Smoke began to rise from Naruto's skin, thin wisps at first, then thicker tendrils that coiled around his trembling form. The ground beneath him darkened, as if scorched. And that's why you're a freak, Mizuki added, eyeing the smoke with scientific interest. The sealing process must have mutated your chakra somehow. I've heard stories of this happening with Jinchuriki, their powers warping into something new. Another reason you'll never be accepted. Don't listen to him, Naruto. Iruka struggled to his feet, blood seeping through his flak jacket. You're not the fox. You're Naruto Uzumaki of the Hidden Leaf Village. Mizuki unsheathed the massive shuriken from his back, spinning it with deadly precision. Die, demon! The weapon sliced through the air, hurtling directly toward Naruto's frozen form. Time seemed to slow. Naruto watched as Iruka threw himself into the shuriken's path, his body moving on pure instinct. But before the weapon could find either target, something extraordinary happened. The smoke emanating from Naruto's body suddenly surged, forming a dense wall between them and the oncoming shuriken. The weapon struck the smoky barrier and slowed dramatically, eventually dropping to the ground with a dull thud. Mizuki's eyes widened. What the? Don't you dare hurt Iruka-sensei. Naruto's voice had dropped an octave, resonating with newfound power. Smoke continued to pour from his body, filling the clearing with shifting gray tendrils that seemed to reach toward Mizuki with purpose. I won't let you! Naruto's hands formed the cross seal. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. The forest exploded with orange and smoke. Not dozens, but hundreds of Narutos materialized throughout the clearing, each one trailing wisps of gray smoke that connected them like a living network. The clones surrounded Mizuki, their blue eyes burning with determination. If you ever touch my sensei again, they spoke in perfect unison, I'll kill you. What is this? Mizuki stumbled backward, fear replacing the smug confidence on his face. This is for all those years of loneliness. The clone army surged forward, fists clenched. The night erupted with the sounds of impact as hundreds of smoke-trailing clones descended upon Mizuki. The traitor's screams echoed through the forest, then gradually faded to whimpers. When it was over, Mizuki lay unconscious in a crater of his own making, his body covered in bruises. The smoke-infused clones dissipated one by one until only the original Naruto remained, standing over his fallen teacher with heaving breaths. I think I might have gone a little overboard, Naruto chuckled nervously, turning to Iruka. The smoke around him had thinned but still clung to his form like a second skin. Iruka stared at him with an unreadable expression. Naruto, that smoke. Has that happened before? Naruto hesitated, then nodded. Once. When some villagers were chasing me. I didn't know what it was. Close your eyes, Naruto. Naruto complied, feeling Iruka's presence move closer. Something soft and metallic pressed against his forehead. You can open them now. Naruto's fingers traced the cool metal plate and the fabric tied around his head. Iruka's forehead protector no, his forehead protector now. Congratulations, graduate, Iruka said, his smile genuine despite his wounds. Let's get ramen to celebrate. Tears welled in Naruto's eyes, blurring his vision. For once, they weren't tears of loneliness or frustration, but of pure joy. The smoke around him shifted, responding to his emotions, forming small spirals that danced in the night air. The third Hokage watched the scene unfold in his crystal ball, piped smoke mingling with the contemplative silence of his office. So, it's finally manifested, he murmured to himself, weathered fingers stroking his beard. The fox's chakra has altered his natural affinity, just as we feared it might. He turned to gaze at the portrait of the fourth Hokage hanging on the wall. Your son continues to surprise us, Minato. Smoke manipulation a rare gift, indeed. The old man's eyes crinkled with a mixture of concern and pride. I wonder what kind of ninja you'll become, Naruto Uzumaki. Outside, the first light of dawn broke over the hidden leaf village, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold that perfectly matched the jumpsuit of its newest, most unpredictable ninja. Sunlight knifed through the academy windows, illuminating dancing dust motes, as they swirled above the heads of Konoha's newest genin. Naruto fidgeted in his seat, the unfamiliar weight of his forehead protector still novel against his skin. He ran his fingers over the cool metal plate for the 100th time that morning, his grin threatening to split his face in two. What are you doing here? Shikamaru Nara's drawling voice cut through Naruto's reverie. This meeting is for graduates only. Naruto jabbed a thumb toward his headband. See this? I graduated too. Believe it. Across the classroom, whispers rippled like wine through tall grass. I heard he actually beat up a Chunin. No way, that's impossible. Someone said there was smoke everywhere. The classroom door slid open with a bang. Sakura Haruno burst in, her pink hair bouncing with each determined step. Her eyes, bright as polished jade, scanned the room before landing on Sasuke Uchiha, who sat in stoic silence by the window. Good morning, Sasuke-kun. Her voice lilted upward, sweet as honey. Sasuke didn't even blink. Naruto felt the familiar tightness in his chest whenever Sakura looked at the Uchiha prodigy. He leapt to his feet, waving energetically. Hey, Sakura-chan, want to sit next to me? Sakura brushed past him without a glance, the breeze of her passing rustling his blonde spikes. Move it, Naruto! Something hot and uncomfortable bubbled in Naruto's stomach. Before he could think better of it, he marched to Sasuke's desk and planted himself directly in front of the raven-haired boy, crouching on the desktop with his face mere inches from his rivals. What's so great about you anyway? Naruto growled, squinting into Sasuke's obsidian eyes. Electricity crackled in the minuscule space between them. The classroom fell silent as a tomb. Sasuke's lips barely moved. Get out of my face, loser. Behind them, someone shifted, nudging Naruto forward. Time slowed to a crawl as Naruto's balance teetered, then failed entirely. His eyes widened in horror as gravity dragged him forward directly into Sasuke's lips. For one eternal second, they froze in mutual shock. Then they wrenched apart, gagging and sputtering with identical expressions of disgust. Naruto! Sakura's shriek could have shattered glass. The killing intent that radiated from her was so palpable that tendrils of smoke began curling from Naruto's trembling shoulders, not from any conscious effort, but from pure, instinctive fear. It was an accident, he protested, backing away as the smoke thickened around him. I swear, Sakura-chan. The approaching stampede of furious Sasuke fangirls halted abruptly at the sight of the gray wisps dancing around Naruto's form. Confused murmurs replaced battle cries. What is that? Is he on fire? Some kind of jutsu? Iruka-sensei's timely arrival saved Naruto from certain death. The smoke dissipated as quickly as it had appeared, leaving only the faint scent of burnt cedar in its wake. Settle down, everyone, Iruka commanded, his voice carrying the weight of authority. Today, you begin your journey as shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. You will be divided into 3-person teams under the guidance of a Jonin instructor. Naruto's heart pounded against his ribcage. Asterisk, please let me be with Sakura-chan. Please let me be with Sakura-chan. Asterisk, Iruka's voice droned on, announcing team after team. Naruto barely registered the names until Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno. Yes. Naruto leapt to his feet, pumping his fist in triumph. And Sasuke Uchiha. No! The victory dance screeched to a halt. Yes. Sakura's squeal of delight was the perfect counterpoint to Naruto's despair. Sasuke remained impassive, his only reaction a slight narrowing of his eyes. 3 hours later, Team 7 sat alone in the empty classroom. Every other team had long since departed with their jonin leaders, leaving them in a vacuum of impatient silence. Where is he? Naruto paced like a caged animal, his footsteps echoing against the walls. Everyone else is probably off doing super cool ninja stuff by now, Sakura sighed from her perch atop a desk. Just sit down, Naruto. You're giving me a headache. Sasuke said nothing, but the rhythmic tap of his finger against his crossed arms spoke volumes about his irritation. A mischievous grin spread across Naruto's whiskered face. He grabbed an eraser from the chalkboard and dragged a chair to the door. What are you doing? Sakura asked, though the answer was painfully obvious. If he's gonna be late, he deserves a little welcome gift. Naruto wedged the eraser between the door and the frame, positioning it to fall on whoever entered. Our teacher is a jonin, an elite ninja, Sasuke scoffed, speaking for the first time in hours. He's not going to fall for a stupid trick like that. The door slid open. The eraser dropped. A cloud of chalk dust exploded across silver hair. For a moment, the universe held its breath. Their new sensei, a tall man with gravity-defying silver hair and a mask covering the lower half of his face, stood frozen in the doorway. A single visible eye blinked once, twice, then curved into what might have been a smile. My first impression of you all, he drawled, voice as lazy as his posture, I hate you. The rooftop offered a panoramic view of Konoha sprawled below them like a living map. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the village, painting the Hokage monument in amber light. Hatake Kakashi leaned against the railing, regarding his new students with the enthusiasm of someone watching paint dry. Let's introduce ourselves, shall we? Likes, dislikes, dreams for the future, that sort of thing. Why don't you go first, sensei? Sakura suggested, tucking a strand of pink hair behind her ear. Show us how it's done. Kakashi scratched his masked chin. Me? Well, my name is Hatake Kakashi. Things I like and things I dislike, I don't feel like telling you that. Dreams for the future, never really thought about it. I have lots of hobbies. 3 flat stares met his non-answer. Your turn, Blondie. Naruto adjusted his headband, chest puffing out. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I like instant ramen, but I love the ramen at Ichiraka's that Irika-sensei treats me to. I hate the 3 minutes you have to wait after pouring the water into the instant ramen cup. My hobby is comparing different types of ramen, and my dream, his voice dropped an octave, suddenly serious, is to surpass all the Hokage. Then the whole village will have to acknowledge my existence. Something flickered in Kakashi's visible eye, surprise, perhaps, or recognition. It vanished as quickly as it appeared. Next, you? He nodded toward Sakura. I'm Sakura Haruno. Her voice lifted with girlish enthusiasm. What I like, I mean, the person I like is. Her green eyes darted to Sasuke, cheeks flushing pink. My hobby is another glance at Sasuke. My dream for the future is a full-blown giggle this time, accompanied by hands clasped beneath her chin as she stared brazenly at the Uchiha. And? Kakashi prompted. What do you dislike? Naruto. She snapped, mood shifting like quicksilver. Naruto's heart crumpled like used tissue paper. Last one. Sasuke's fingers interlaced before his face, eyes hard as flint. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I hate a lot of things, and I don't particularly like anything. What I have is not a dream, because I will make it a reality. I'm going to restore my clan and kill a certain someone. A heavy silence smothered the rooftop. Naruto swallowed hard, suddenly aware of the chasm of darkness that seemed to surround his new teammate. Kakashi clapped his hands once, shattering the tension. Great! You're each unique and have your own ideas. We'll have our first mission tomorrow. What kind of mission? Naruto bounced on his heels, excitement rekindled. A survival exercise. But we did survival exercises at the academy, Sakura protested. This isn't like your previous training. Kakashi's eye crinkled with what might have been sadistic amusement. Of the 27 graduates, only 9 will be accepted as genin. The rest will be sent back to the academy. This exercise has a failure rate of over 66%. The blood drained from Naruto's face. What? Then what was the graduation test for? That? Just to select candidates who might become genin. Kakashi's voice danced with dark humor. Training ground 3, 5 a.m. Bring your ninja gear. Oh, and skip breakfast, you'll throw up. With a casual 2-fingered salute, he vanished in a swirl of leaves, leaving 3 shell-shocked genin behind. Morning mist clung to the grass like ghostly fingers, transforming training ground 3 into an ethereal landscape. Naruto yawned wide enough to crack his jaw, stomach growling in angry protest at its emptiness. Beside him, Sakura wasn't faring much better. her usual vibrancy dimmed by hunger and early morning bleariness. Even Sasuke's perfect posture had a slight, barely perceptible slump. "He's late again," Naruto grumbled, dropping cross-legged onto the damp earth. 3 more hours crawled by before Kakashi finally appeared, materializing as casually as if he were right on time. "Good morning, everyone," he chirped. "You're late." Naruto and Sakura bellowed in unison. "A black cat crossed my path, so I had to take the long way." Kakashi's eye curved in a smile that no one believed for a second. He placed a small alarm clock on a nearby stump. "This is set for noon." From his pocket, he produced 2 small bells that jingled with a deceptively cheerful sound. "Your task is simple: get these bells from me before the timer rings. Anyone who doesn't get a bell by noon gets no lunch, and will be tied to those posts while I eat in front of you." 3 stomachs growled in horrified harmony. "Wait a minute," Sakura's analytical mind clicked into gear despite her hunger. "There are only 2 bells." "Very observant," Kakashi nodded. "At least one of you will be tied to the post, and ultimately fail the mission. That person goes back to the academy." The air between the 3 genin thickened with competitive tension. "You'll need to come at me with the intent to kill if you want to succeed," Kakashi continued, tying the bells to his waist. "Begin when I say." Naruto didn't wait. With a battle cry that sent birds scattering from nearby trees, he charged forward, kunai spinning in his hand. In a blur of motion too fast for the eye to track, Kakashi was suddenly behind him, Naruto's own kunai pointed at the back of his neck. "So impatient," Kakashi sighed. "I didn't even say start yet." He released Naruto with a gentle push. "But at least you came at me with the intent to kill, so now I'm starting to like you guys." His eye crinkled with that invisible smile again. "Ready, begin." Sasuke and Sakura vanished instantly, melting into the surrounding foliage with the stealth expected of ninja. Naruto, however, remained rooted to the spot, arms crossed over his chest. "You and me, right now, fair and square," he declared, pointing dramatically at Kakashi. "Let's go." Kakashi's visible eyebrow lifted incredulously. "You know, compared to the others, you're a little weird. The only thing weird is your haircut." Naruto charged again, feet pounding the earth. Kakashi's hand dipped into his weapon's pouch. Naruto skidded to a halt, muscles tensing for an attack. Instead of a weapon, Kakashi withdrew a small orange book. "What are you doing?" Naruto demanded, thrown off balance by the unexpected move. "Reading," Kakashi replied without looking up. "Don't let it bother you. With your weak attacks, it doesn't matter if I'm reading or not." Red-hot anger surged through Naruto's veins. His hands flew through the familiar cross-shaped seal. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. The clearing erupted with orange-clad bodies, each one solid and real and each one trailing thin wisps of gray smoke from their fingertips. Hidden in the trees, Sasuke's eyes widened. Asterisk, those aren't illusions, they're solid clones. When did the dead last learn an advanced technique like that? Asterisk. Kakashi finally looked up from his book, his single eye betraying genuine surprise. Shadow clones? And quite a few of them too. The clone army surged forward in a wave of orange and smoke. Fists flew from every direction as Naruto attacked from all sides at once. But Kakashi moved like water, flowing between the attacks with effortless grace. One by one, the clones burst into puffs of smoke as they were dispatched with casual taps and nudges. Frustration boiled in Naruto's gut. Without conscious thought, the smoke trailing from his remaining clones thickened, spreading outward to form a gray haze across the clearing. Interesting, Kakashi's voice filtered through the thickening cloud. You're producing smoke. Not genjutsu, but actual physical smoke. I'll get those bells. Naruto's voice echoed from multiple directions as his remaining clones used the cover to reposition. Inside the smokescreen, Naruto felt a strange prickling sensation across his skin. Somehow, he could feel the movement around him, tiny disturbances in the smoke alerting him to Kakashi's position. He lunged toward the sensation, fingers outstretched toward the jingling bells. But Kakashi was gone, reappearing at the edge of the smoke cloud. His book snapped shut for the first time. That smoke, he murmured, visible eye narrowed thoughtfully. It's responding to your chakra. Crude, but potentially effective. The smoke dissipated as Naruto's clones vanished one by one. He stood alone in the clearing once more, panting with exertion. I'm just getting started, he declared, charging forward again. This time, Kakashi disappeared completely. Naruto froze, head swiveling. Where'd he? A ninja should never let an enemy get behind them. Kakashi's voice came from directly beneath Naruto. Fingers jabbed upward. Hidden leaf secret finger jutsu. 1,000 years of death. Naruto's agonized shriek echoed across the training ground as he was launched skyward, hands clutching his violated posterior. he crashed into the nearby river with a spectacular splash. Underwater, the cool shock cleared Naruto's head. I can't beat him head-on, I need a plan. His fingers formed the now familiar cross seal. Beneath the surface, multiple shadow clones materialized in silent puffs of bubbles. One by one, they swam toward the shore while Naruto himself remained hidden in the depths. On land, a single soaked Naruto emerged from the water, coughing and sputtering. Kakashi had returned to his book, seemingly disinterested. You know, you won't get lunch unless you take a bell, he reminded without looking up. I know that. Naruto snapped, stalking forward with dripping determination. Behind Kakashi, 7 identical Narutos burst from the bushes, launching a coordinated attack. Kakashi sighed, dispatching them with practiced ease until one managed to latch onto his back while the others grabbed his limbs. What? From behind? Kakashi's surprise was genuine as the Naruto in front of him grinned triumphantly. A ninja should never let an enemy get behind them, right, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto crowed, leaping forward with his fist cocked back. I used the smoke from my clones to blind you while I set up my attack. His fist connected with another Naruto clone. Kakashi had substituted himself at the last moment, leaving Naruto to punch his own doppelganger. Gah! Naruto clutched his throbbing hand as his clone dispersed. Damn it! In the confusion, he spotted something glinting in the grass, a bell. He snatched it up with a victorious whoop, only to feel his ankle catch in a rope trap. The world tilted and spun as he was hoisted upside down, dangling from a tree branch. The bell in his hand disappeared in a puff of smoke. Think before using a jutsu, Kakashi lectured, retrieving his book from his pouch. Or your opponent might use it against you. Across the training ground, similar battles unfolded. Sakura fell victim to a devastating genjutsu that showed her a critically wounded Sasuke, causing her to faint dead away. Sasuke came closest to success, his fingers actually brushing against the bell before Kakashi overpowered him, burying him up to his neck in the earth. By noon, all 3 genin had failed to retrieve a bell. Naruto found himself tied to the center post while Sasuke and Sakura sat on either side of him, 3 bento boxes placed tantalizingly before them. Oh my, Kakashi sighed, hands on his hips. Listen to those stomachs growl. By the way, about this exercise I've decided not to send any of you back to the academy. Hope blossomed across 3 young faces. Yes, all 3 of you, Kakashi's voice dropped to a menacing rumble, are being dropped from the program permanently. The hope withered and died, replaced by shell-shocked horror. Drop us from the program? Naruto thrashed against his ropes. That means we can never become ninja. You said if we didn't get the bells we'd be sent back to the academy. You can't just change the rules, because you don't think like ninja, Kakashi's voice cut like a blade. You think like little kids, like brats. Sasuke's face contorted with rage. With a guttural cry, he launched himself at Kakashi only to find himself face down in the dirt, Kakashi's foot planted firmly on his head. You think it's all about you, Kakashi continued, grinding his foot against Sasuke's skull. You don't know what it means to be a ninja. You think it's a game. Why do you think we put you on teams? Sakura's brow furrowed. What do you mean? I mean, Kakashi's voice was deadly serious, that you never realized what this exercise was about. Not even close. It's about teamwork. The word hung in the air like a physical presence. If all 3 of you had come at me together, you might have been able to take the bells, Kakashi explained. I deliberately pitted you against each other by having only 2 bells. I wanted to see if you could overcome that, and put the team ahead of yourselves. Shame bloomed across 3 young faces. Sakura! Kakashi barked. You obsessed over Sasuke who was gone, while Naruto was right in front of you and you wouldn't lift a finger to help him. Naruto, you do everything on your own, even when your new ability that smoke could have been perfectly used to cover your teammates' approaches. And Sasuke, you assumed the others would just get in your way and tried to do everything alone. He released Sasuke and stalked toward a stone monument nearby. Look at this, all the names carved on this stone. These are ninja honored as heroes in our village. That's it. Naruto's face lit up. I want my name on that stone. They're a special kind of hero, Kakashi's voice softened. They all died in the line of duty. The clearing fell silent save for the whisper of wind through leaves. This is a memorial stone, Kakashi continued, his finger tracing an invisible name. My best friend's name is carved here. He turned back to face them, his usual lazy demeanor gone. I'll give you one more chance. Eat lunch now to build up strength. But Naruto gets nothing. If anyone feeds him, they fail immediately. I am the rules here, got it? With that ominous warning, he vanished in a swirl of leaves. For several minutes, only the sounds of hesitant chopsticks against bento boxes broke the silence. Naruto's stomach growled with such ferocity that birds scattered from nearby trees. I'm fine, he declared, forcing a grin. I can go without lunch, no problem. Believe it! Another monstrous growl from his stomach betrayed the lie. Sasuke glanced around, then thrust his bento toward Naruto. Here, Sakura gasped. Sasuke-kun. You heard what the sensei said. Kakashi's gone, Sasuke replied coolly. We need to get those bells as a team. If Naruto's hungry, he'll be weak and ineffective, which hurts the team. For a moment, something like respect flickered in Sasuke's dark eyes as he gazed at Naruto. Besides, that smoke ability of yours, it could be useful. I've never seen anything like it before. Naruto's eyes widened in disbelief. Sasuke, Sakura glanced nervously over her shoulder, then held out her bento as well. Here, Naruto. Take mine too. But Sakura-chan, emotions welled in Naruto's throat. I can't move my hands. You'll have to feed me. Sakura's face twisted with disgust, but she steeled herself and lifted a clump of rice toward Naruto's mouth. Just this once, you understand? And never tell anyone about this. Naruto's cheeks flushed pink as he accepted the offering. The moment the food touched his lips, the sky darkened. Wind whipped through the clearing as thunderclouds materialized from nowhere. You! Kakashi's face loomed before them, twisted with rage, his visible eye blazing with fury. Sakura shrieked. Naruto thrashed against his bonds. Even Sasuke flinched backward. You broke the rules, Kakashi growled, hands forming seals as lightning flashed overhead. Are you prepared for the punishment? The three genin huddled together, facing their doom as one unit. Any last words? Kakashi demanded. But you said, Naruto stammered. Yes? Kakashi leaned closer. You said we're a team. Naruto found his courage, blue eyes blazing. And that's why Sakura and Sasuke, we're all in this together, Sasuke added, his voice steady despite the killing intent radiating from their sensei. Yeah. Sakura chimed in, her small hands curled into determined fists. The three of us are one. Kakashi loomed over them, his expression unreadable. The three of you are one? That's your excuse? The genin braced themselves. Suddenly, the storm clouds vanished. Kakashi's eye curved into that familiar smile. You pass. Huh? Three voices chorused in confusion. You pass. Kakashi repeated, his voice warm with approval. What do you mean? Sakura asked, still half crouched in defensive posture. How did we pass? You're the first team that ever succeeded, Kakashi explained. Everyone else would just do whatever I told them. They were all morons. He walked back toward the memorial stone, hands in his pockets. In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum. But those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. Something tight and painful in Naruto's chest unraveled. Tears pricked at the corners of his eyes, but this time, he didn't care who saw them. The exercise is over, Kakashi announced, turning to face them with a thumbs up. You all pass. Starting tomorrow, Team 7 begins its official duties. The following weeks blurred together in a kaleidoscope of increasingly ridiculous D-rank missions. Team 7 pulled weeds, retrieved runaway cats, picked up litter, and performed 100 other menial tasks that Naruto vocally insisted were not real ninja work. But each mission provided unexpected opportunities for Naruto to explore his developing smoke abilities. During a gardening mission, when he accidentally uprooted a valuable plant instead of a weed, Naruto discovered he could produce cool, damp smoke that kept the roots from drying out until Sakura could replant it. While retrieving a nobleman's wayward cat for the third time, Naruto's frustration triggered heat in his smoke, warming the areas where the cat might hide and driving it towards Sasuke's waiting hands. On trash collection detail along the river, his smoke proved ideal for reaching litter trapped in difficult crevices, shifting from wispy tendrils to more substantial forms that could grip and pull. Throughout it all, Kakashi watched with deceptively casual interest, occasionally offering oblique comments that were less instruction and more vague observation. Interesting how your smoke density changes with your emotions, he noted after Naruto's smoke had thickened to an impenetrable cloud during a confrontation with an arrogant client. Have you tried changing its temperature deliberately, rather than as a reaction? He asked when Naruto used warm smoke to dry Sakura's hair after she fell into a pond during a mission. I wonder if you could control its opacity. He mused aloud as Naruto's smoke blocked the glare of the setting sun during an outdoor painting assignment. After one particularly trying mission involving the capture of a merchant's escaped ferrets, Kakashi held Naruto back as Sasuke and Sakura headed home. Your smoke, he began without preamble. It's not a Kekkai Genkai I've ever encountered in Konoha. Naruto kicked at the dirt, uncomfortable under his sensei's penetrating gaze. I don't know where it comes from. It just happened. when I was in trouble. Kakashi's visible eye studied him with unsettling intensity. The third Hokage mentioned a theory about the Nine-Tails chakra altering your natural affinity. Naruto's head snapped up. You know about the fox? All the Jonin know, Kakashi replied with a casual shrug that belied the seriousness of his words. But this smoke ability is something new entirely. I've never heard of a Jinchuriki developing such a specific manifestation. Is it bad? Naruto asked, suddenly anxious. Would this be one more reason for the village to fear him? On the contrary, Kakashi smiled, ruffling Naruto's spiky hair. It's fascinating. And potentially very useful, if you learn to control it properly. He reached into his weapons pouch and withdrew a small scroll, handing it to Naruto. Some basic chakra control exercises, adapted for your particular situation. Try focusing on maintaining a consistent density first. Once you master that, we can work on temperature and opacity. Naruto clutched the scroll, unexpected emotions swelling in his throat. You're going to help me with this? Well, I am your sensei, Kakashi drawled, already pulling out his orange book, though I have to warn you there are no records of smoke users in Konoha's history that I know of. We're in uncharted territory here. His eye curved in a gentler smile than usual. But then again, you've always been one for making your own path, haven't you, Naruto? The training ground was bathed in twilight by the time Naruto collapsed onto his back, gasping for breath. Gray smoke wisped from his fingertips in faint, controlled streams a far cry from the chaotic clouds of his earlier attempts. Not bad, I guess. Sasuke's voice startled him. The Uchiha leaned against a nearby tree, arms crossed, watching with those calculating dark eyes. Naruto bolted upright. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. Sasuke pushed off from the tree, approaching with measured steps. That smoke jutsu of yours. It's not like anything in the academy textbooks. Naruto's chin jutted stubbornly. So what? Jealous? To his shock, Sasuke didn't immediately scoff or turn away. Instead, his rival's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. It has potential, he admitted, the words clearly difficult for him. During the bell test, when you created that smokescreen, if we had coordinated, I could have used it as cover to get close to Kakashi. Naruto blinked, stunned, speechless for perhaps the first time in his life. Sasuke continued, his voice clinically detached. The Sharingan can see through most visual obstructions, but your smoke is physical, not genjutsu. In a real battle situation, that kind of cover would be tactically advantageous. Thanks? Naruto managed, unsure how to respond to what sounded suspiciously like a compliment from his stoic teammate. Sasuke turned away, hands sliding into his pockets. Don't get carried away. You still have pathetic chakra control and your taijutsu is a joke. But he paused, glancing back over his shoulder. Keep working on that smoke technique. It might actually make you somewhat useful to the team. With that backhanded encouragement, he walked away, leaving Naruto staring after him with a mixture of irritation and something that felt dangerously close to pride. Naruto flopped back onto the grass, staring up at the darkening sky. His hands formed the cross seal once more, and this time, when the smoke emerged from his clones, he focused on making it denser, more solid. To his surprise, the gray clouds began to coalesce, taking on almost tangible forms, wisps that resembled tendrils reaching skyward, swirls that held their shape for seconds before dissipating. With each attempt, the smoke responded more readily to his will, shifting from transparent mist to opaque fog at his command. When he finally headed home under a canopy of stars, Naruto's steps were lighter than they had been in years. For the first time in his life, he possessed something truly unique, something that was his alone, either borrowed nor stolen nor grudgingly given. The smoke within him stirred, responding to his emotions like a living thing, and Naruto Uzumaki smiled into the darkness, already dreaming of the day when the whole village would acknowledge the power of the Leaf's one and only smoke-wielding ninja. Are we there yet? Naruto's voice shattered the peaceful forest ambience for the 14th time in an hour, sending a flock of startled birds scattering into the cloudless blue sky. Sakura's fist connected with the top of his head in a now practiced motion. Shut up, Naruto! You asked that 5 minutes ago. Tazuna, the bridge builder they'd been assigned to protect, took a long swig from his flask, his weathered face creasing with annoyance. Is the short, loud one really a ninja? He's more like a walking bullseye. Naruto bristled, spinning to face the old man. Hey! I'll have you know I'm the ninja who's going to become Hokage someday. Believe it! Kakashi's sigh drifted from behind his ever-present orange book. Naruto, a ninja who announces his presence to everyone within a half-mile radius, might want to reconsider his career choice. Team 7's first C-rank mission had started smoothly enough, escort Tazuna safely to the land of waves where he was building a bridge. Simple. Straightforward. Perfect for rookie genin cutting their teeth on missions outside the village. Too perfect as it turned out. The attack came without warning, two figures materializing from a puddle on the sun-baked road, chains whipping out to ensnare Kakashi before violently ripping him apart in a spray of gore. One down, hissed one of the attackers, his voice muffled behind a metal mask, eyes gleaming with murderous intent. Kakashi-sensei! Sakura's scream tore through the air as she positioned herself in front of Tazuna, kunai trembling in her grip. The world crystallized into horrifying clarity. Naruto stood frozen, lungs refusing to draw breath, as the two assassins turned toward him with fluid, predatory movements. Two down, the second one rasped, lunging forward. Sasuke reacted first, launching into the air with shuriken flying from his fingertips, pinning the attacker's chain to a nearby tree. He landed on their metal gauntlets and kicked both men in the face simultaneously, a move of such calculated precision that it momentarily startled the assassins. But they recovered quickly, disconnecting their chain and splitting their attack, one heading for Tazuna, the other for the still paralyzed Naruto. "Move, you idiot!" Sasuke shouted. The clawed gauntlet slashed toward Naruto's face. Time slowed to a crawl. He could see the poison dripping from the metal tips, the light refracting through each deadly droplet. His body refused to respond, terror locking his muscles tight. In that moment of absolute fear, his skin prickled with sudden heat. Gray smoke erupted from his body in an explosive cloud, temporarily blinding his attacker, who stumbled back with a startled curse. Before either assassin could regroup, Kakashi appeared, effortlessly subduing both with swift, brutal efficiency. He hadn't died after all. A substitution jutsu had saved him, while he observed his students' reactions. "Naruto," Kakashi said, his visible eye narrowed, "sorry for not helping you right away. I didn't think you'd freeze like that." His gaze shifted to the wisps of smoke still curling from Naruto's trembling form. Though that smoke screen was interesting, shame burned hotter than the fear had. Naruto stared at his hand where a small cut leaked blood onto the dirt path. The enemy's poison-laced claws had nicked him after all. Without a word, he drew a kunai and plunged it into the wound, startling everyone with the sudden, violent action. "I swear on this pain," he growled through gritted teeth, "I will never freeze again. I will never need saving again. I won't lose to Sasuke. Upon this wound, I make this pledge." Blood dripped between his fingers, splashing onto the dusty road. Kakashi stepped forward, eye creased with concern. "That's very dramatic, Naruto. But you're going to bleed to death if you don't stop the bleeding." Naruto blinked, the color draining from his face as he stared at the steady flow of crimson. "Ah. No way. I'm too young to die. Help me, Kakashi-sensei." As Kakashi bandaged the self-inflicted wound, he shared what he'd learned from interrogating the attackers. The demon brothers, Chunin-level missing mean from the hidden Mist village, had been specifically targeting Tazuna. This was no ordinary C-rank mission. Tazuna, confronted with the evidence, spilled his sake-scented confession. The Land of Waves was under the iron control of a shipping magnate named Gato, who was determined to prevent the bridge from being completed. Too poor to afford a proper A-rank mission, Tazuna had lied about the danger involved. "We should go back," Sakura said, green eyes wide with worry. "This is way beyond our level. We're just genin." "No way." Naruto jabbed a thumb at his chest. "We accepted this mission, and we're going to complete it. Right, Sasuke?" Sasuke's response was a non-committal humph, but the challenging glint in his eye told Naruto everything he needed to know. His rival wasn't backing down either. Kakashi assessed his students with a calculating gaze. "It's not my call alone. This has become a B-rank mission at minimum, possibly A-rank if they send Jonin after us next. We should really return to the village." He paused, eyes shifting between their determined faces. "But if you three are all in agreement." Mist rolled over the glassy surface of the water like ghostly fingers as the small boat glided silently toward the distant shore. The bridge loomed above them, a massive, half-completed structure that reached toward the mainland like a concrete arm stretching for salvation. "We're almost there," the boatman whispered, his voice barely audible above the gentle lapping of waves against the hull. "But this is as far as I go. The risk is too great." Naruto peered through the dense fog, an excited grin splitting his face despite the tension thrumming through the air. "Man, I can't see anything. This mist is crazy thick." "Shut up," Sakura hissed, clamping a hand over his mouth. "Do you want us to get caught?" As the boat nudged against the shore, Team 7 and Tazuna disembarked, moving through the misty forest with heightened awareness. Every shadow seemed to harbor potential threats, every rustle of leaves a prelude to attack. The attack, when it came, was preceded by nothing more than a subtle shift in the air pressure. Kakashi's sudden command, "Get down," sent them all diving to the ground as an enormous sword whirled over their heads like a helicopter blade, embedding itself into a tree trunk with a solid thunk. A figure appeared balancing atop the sword's handle with inhuman grace, a tall, muscular man with his lower face wrapped in bandages, his chest bare despite the cool mist, and his eyes, those eyes were cold voids that had witnessed untold bloodshed. Well, well, the man's voice rumbled like distant thunder, if it isn't Kakashi of the Sharingan. No wonder the demon brothers failed. Zabuza Momochi, Kakashi replied, reaching for his headband that covered his left eye, the demon of the hidden mist. Naruto's heart hammered against his ribcage. This wasn't like the demon brothers. The killing intent radiating from this man was so thick Naruto could almost taste it, metallic and cold, like blood in winter. Manji formation, Kakashi barked, revealing his left eye red with 3 swirling tomo. Protect Tazuna. Stay out of this fight. Zabuza's chuckle was like stones grinding together. The famous Sharingan, right from the start? I'm honored. His hands formed a seal. But it won't save you from my specialty ninja art, hidden mist jutsu. The already thick mist intensified, billowing around them until visibility dropped to mere inches. Zabuza's voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. 8 points: larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian artery, kidneys, heart. Which vital organ do you want struck first? Paralyzing fear gripped Naruto again. But this time, something else stirred within him, defiance. Thin tendrils of smoke began to leak from his fingertips, responding to his emotions, curling into the mist like curious serpents. The smoke spread, mingling with the mist, and as it did, something extraordinary happened. Naruto felt a strange prickling sensation across his skin, a heightened awareness of the space around him. Through his smoke, he could sense subtle movements, disturbances in the air currents. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto whispered urgently. He's behind us. Kakashi finished, spinning to intercept Zabuza as the missing nin materialized within their defensive formation, sword already swinging toward Tazuna. Water clones, substitution jutsu, and devastating ninjutsu exchanges followed in a battle so fast-paced that Naruto could barely follow. But through it all, his smoke continued to spread, thinner and more diffused than before but somehow more sensitive, alerting him to dangers seconds before they materialized. Sasuke! Naruto hissed. 3 o'clock. Sasuke, initially suspicious, reacted just in time to block a saban needle that would have struck his neck. His eyes widened fractionally as he glanced at Naruto. How did you, my smoke? Naruto grinned despite the danger. I can feel movement through it. Before Sasuke could respond, a guttural cry drew their attention. Kakashi had been captured, imprisoned in a sphere of water maintained by Zabuza's outstretched hand. Run! Kakashi shouted through the liquid prison. His water clone can't go far from his real body. Take Tazuna and go. Naruto locked eyes with Sasuke, a wordless communication passing between them. Running wasn't an option, not anymore. I've got a plan, Naruto murmured, hands already forming the cross seal. Shadow Clone Jutsu. A dozen smoke-trailing Narutos appeared, charging the water clone with reckless abandon. But this was merely a distraction. The real strategy came when one clone transformed into a massive shuriken, which Sasuke hurled not at the clone, but at the real Zabuza. Zabuza caught it one-handed only for a second shuriken to approach in the first one's shadow. He leapt over it, smirking behind his bandages. A shadow shuriken technique? Too simple, but the second shuriken poofed into Naruto, kunai already flying from his hand, forcing Zabuza to release the water prison to avoid being hit. Freed, Kakashi resumed the battle with renewed intensity. Water dragons crashed against each other, tidal waves swept through the forest, and finally, as Zabuza prepared to unleash another jutsu, Kakashi mirrored his hand signs with uncanny precision. How can you see the future? Zabuza gasped, momentarily shaken. Yes, Kakashi's voice was cold as winter frost. And your future is death. Before the final blow could land, saban needles flashed through the air, striking Zabuza's neck with surgical precision. The massive swordsman collapsed like a puppet with cut strings. A masked figure appeared in a nearby tree, a hunter nin from the hidden mist, come to collect Zabuza's body. With formal thanks to Team 7, the mysterious ninja vanished with Zabuza's corpse, leaving behind only questions and the dissipating mist. Kakashi, having overused his Sharingan, collapsed from chakra exhaustion. Together, the genin carried their sensei to Tazuna's house, where his daughter, Tsunami, welcomed them with worried hospitality. Again, Kakashi commanded from his makeshift crutches, observing as his 3 students attempted to climb trees using only their chakra-infused feet. 3 days had passed since the battle with Zabuza. Kakashi, having analyzed the suspicious circumstances of Zabuza's death, concluded that the missing Nin was still alive and would return to finish the job, likely within a week. The hunter Nin had been an accomplice, not an executioner. This revelation had electrified Team 7, pushing them into intense training to prepare for the rematch. The tree climbing exercise was meant to improve their chakra control, something all three desperately needed, especially Naruto. Sakura, with her naturally precise chakra control, reached the top on her first attempt. Sasuke made it halfway before the bark exploded beneath his foot, sending him tumbling back to earth. Naruto barely made it 3 steps before falling flat on his back. This is impossible. Naruto growled after his 20th attempt, glaring at the barely marked trunk before him. Smoke curled from his fingertips, responding to his frustration. Try again, Kakashi instructed, his tone mild but firm. Focus your chakra more precisely. Too much and you'll break the bark, too little and you'll slip off. Naruto gritted his teeth, concentrating harder. The smoke from his hands thickened, almost unconsciously forming tendrils that reached toward the tree. On his next attempt, as he began to slip, those smoke tendrils suddenly solidified just enough to provide momentary support, allowing him to regain his footing. Kakashi's visible eye widened. Naruto, did you do that on purpose? Do what? Naruto blinked, still clinging precariously to the trunk. The smoke. You used it to stabilize yourself. Naruto looked at the semi-solid tendril of smoke still extending from his hand to the tree. Whoa! That's awesome. I didn't even mean to do it. Kakashi tapped his masked chin thoughtfully. It seems your smoke responds to your needs, even subconsciously. Interesting. Over the next few days, as Sasuke and Naruto competed to reach the treetops, Naruto began experimenting with his smoke tendrils, using them as supplementary supports when his chakra control faltered. It wasn't the proper way to complete the exercise, but it revealed new possibilities for his unique ability. Meanwhile, Naruto's perspective on the land of waves deepened through his interactions with Tazuna's grandson, Inori, a boy broken by Gato's cruelty, and the public execution of his stepfather, Kaiza, who had once been the village's hero. The encounter left Naruto more determined than ever to prove that heroes still existed. The morning of the 7th day dawned cold and misty. Kakashi and Sasuke headed to the bridge with Tazuna, leaving an exhausted Naruto to rest after training through the night. But rest would prove elusive. Naruto awoke to Tsunami's screams as Gato's thugs invaded the house. His response was swift, and overwhelming shadow clones subdued the attackers while Naruto rushed to the bridge, intuition telling him the real battle had already begun. He arrived to find a nightmarish scene: Sasuke trapped within a dome of ice mirrors, Kakashi engaged in deadly combat with Zabuza, and Sakura standing guard over Tazuna amid the bodies of fallen bridge workers. Sasuke! Naruto shouted, racing toward the ice prison where his teammate fought against the masked ninja from before, no hunter Nin, but Zabuza's accomplice. Idiot! Sasuke's voice came from within the dome, strained and punctuated by the sounds of combat. Why did you come inside? Now we're both trapped. The masked ninja Haku moved between the ice mirrors with impossible speed, launching Saban from every direction. Sasuke, his newly awakened Sharingan struggling to track the movements, was already bleeding from dozens of small wounds. I can help. Naruto formed the cross seal, smoke already leaking from his skin in agitated wisps. Shadow Clone Jutsu. A dozen Narutos appeared, each trailing more smoke than usual, filling the enclosed space with a gray haze that thickened by the second. What is this? Haku's voice echoed from the mirrors, the first hint of uncertainty in their otherwise emotionless tone. Sasuke! Naruto called through the smoke. Can you see with your Sharingan? Better than before. Sasuke confirmed, his eyes glowing red through the haze. The smoke disrupts the light reflection between the mirrors. I can track the real body now. Outside the dome, Kakashi and Zabuza's battle had reached a fevered pitch. The copy ninja, his Sharingan blazing, had just summoned his ninja hounds to pin Zabuza in place for a final, devastating attack. Inside the ice prison, Naruto and Sasuke had begun to turn the tide. Sasuke's fire jutsu, combined with Naruto's smoke-filled clones, created momentary blind spots that allowed them to land hits on the increasingly desperate Haku. Then, in an instant, everything changed. Haku, realizing Zabuza was about to fall to Kakashi's lightning blade, made a desperate move, a flurry of Saban aimed at Naruto's vital points. Sasuke, moving with newfound speed, threw himself in front of Naruto, taking the full brunt of the attack. Why? Naruto gasped, catching Sasuke's falling form. Why would you do that? Sasuke's blood-flecked lips curved in a faint smirk. My body just moved on its own, idiot. His eyes closed, body going limp in Naruto's arms. Something snapped inside Naruto. Grief and rage, intertwined like vines around his heart, tore through every mental barrier. The smoke pouring from his body suddenly changed, darkening from gray to a malevolent red-black, shot through with veins of crimson that pulsed like exposed arteries. "I'll kill you," Naruto growled, his voice deeper, rougher, as the Nine-Tails chakra flooded his system, merging with his smoke in a terrifying new manifestation. The temperature within the ice dome skyrocketed. Where the caustic red-black smoke touched the mirrors, they began to sizzle and melt, ice turning to water that instantly evaporated into steam. Haku, sensing the dramatic shift in power, launched a desperate attack only to find their mask shattered by Naruto's fist, moved with inhuman speed. "Kill me," Haku whispered, their beautiful, sad face revealed at last. "I have failed as Zabuza's tool. I am no longer useful to him." The request stunned Naruto, momentarily cutting through the haze of rage. The revelation that Haku was the same gentle soul he'd met in the forest days earlier gathering herbs to heal Zabuza further dampened his bloodlust. Before Naruto could respond, Haku sensed Zabuza's mortal danger and teleported to intercept Kakashi's lightning blade, sacrificing themselves for their master. The battles concluded in a cascade of unexpected turns. Gato arrived with an army of mercenaries, proving he planned to betray Zabuza all along. The wounded demon of the mist, moved by Haku's sacrifice and Naruto's impassioned words about bonds, used his last strength to tear through Gato's forces and kill the shipping magnate, dying beside his loyal companion. As snow began to fall Haku's tears from heaven, Naruto thought the villagers arrived, led by Inari, ready to fight for their home at last. But the battle was already over. Gato was dead, his army scattered, and the land of waves was finally free. 2 weeks later, Team 7 stood at the foot of the completed bridge, saying their goodbyes to Tazuna, Tsunami, and a transformed Inari, who fought tears as fiercely as Naruto did. "Don't worry," Naruto grinned, thumping his chest. "We'll come visit once you've turned this place into the richest land in the world." "You better," Inari sniffled, wiping his eyes with his sleeve. "I've still got tons of cool fishing spots to show you." As they walked across the massive bridge, Sakura turned to Naruto with an expression he'd never seen directed at him before, something like respect mingled with curiosity. "That smoke thing you did in the ice mirrors," she said, "I've never seen anything like it." "How did you know it would work?" Naruto scratched the back of his head, suddenly self-conscious. "I didn't really. It just felt right." Intuitive battlefield adaptation, Kakashi commented from behind his book. A rare trait, even among experienced jonin. Sasuke, fully recovered thanks to Haku's non-lethal precision, gave Naruto a sideways glance. "That red smoke, when you thought I was dead." "What was that?" Naruto tensed, but Kakashi smoothly intercepted. A rare emotional response that affected his chakra output. "Something we'll work on controlling in the future." As they reached the mainland, Tazuna's voice called out behind them. "Hey! We need a name for the bridge. How about the Great Naruto Bridge?" Tsunami suggested with a warm smile. "Perfect." Tazuna laughed. "Named after the boy who changed Inari's heart and through him, the heart of our entire land." The name made Naruto's steps lighter than air as they headed home. On the journey back, during a rest break, he sat with his palm upturned, concentrating on the smoke that wisped between his fingers. With careful focus, he shaped it into a thin, flat layer that hovered above his hand, dense enough to block visibility but thin enough to maintain for several minutes without strain. "I think I'll call it," he announced to his curious teammates, "Smoke Style, Concealing Veil." His face split in a proud grin. "My first official name technique, humph." "Not bad," Sasuke admitted, the corner of his mouth twitching in what might have been the ghost of a smile. Sakura rolled her eyes, but there was no real annoyance behind it. "Just don't use it to peek in the women's bath, or I'll end you." "As Sakura-chan." Naruto sputtered, his concentration breaking as the smoke dissipated. "I would never." Kakashi watched his students banter with hidden satisfaction. The Land of Waves mission had forged something valuable between these three very different genin, the beginnings of trust, of teamwork, of bonds that would be tested in the trials to come. And as for Naruto's smoke abilities, the Jonin's mind raced with possibilities. The way the smoke had responded to the Nine-Tails chakra was both concerning and fascinating. If properly harnessed, it could become a formidable weapon in Naruto's arsenal. But if left unchecked, he pushed the thought aside, watching as Naruto once again formed his concealing veil, this time large enough to hide behind while he attempted to sneak a peek at what page Kakashi was reading in his infamous orange book. "Nice try," Kakashi smiled, snapping the book shut. "But smoke or no smoke, You're still 100 years too early to catch me off guard. Naruto's indignant protests echoed through the forest, accompanied by Sakura's laughter and even Sasuke's grudging snort of amusement. For now, at least, all was well with Team 7. The smoke within Naruto had found its first true purpose, and it was just the beginning. The morning sun blazed over Konoha like molten gold, painting the village streets in warm amber hues as Team 7 crossed the market district. Naruto's sandals scuffed against the paving stones, his pace urgent despite the early hour. The mission to the Land of Waves had changed something in him, ignited a fire that refused to be extinguished. You're actually early, Sakura remarked, her voice tinged with surprise as Naruto fell into step beside her. Her emerald eyes studied him with newfound curiosity. That's the third time this week. Naruto's grin flashed bright against his sun-kissed skin. I've been training. Wisps of gray smoke curled unconsciously from his fingertips as he gesticulated wildly. Watch this. He extended his palms skyward, brow furrowing in concentration. The smoke thickened, coalescing into a small, cloudy sphere that hovered inches above his hand. Not bad, Sasuke muttered, the reluctant admission pulled from him like a splinter. Before Naruto could bask in the rare praise, a high-pitched shriek cut through the morning calm. A tiny body slammed into his legs, nearly toppling him. Boss! Boss! Play ninja with us. Konohamaru, the third Hokage's grandson, beamed up at him, flanked by his ever-present companions, Moegi and Udon. Play ninja? Sakura snorted, tossing her pink hair. Hias a ninja, you little. Her words died as Konohamaru crashed headlong into a black-clad stranger. The impact sent the small boy sprawling into the dust at the feet of a teenager with purple face paint and a massive bandage-wrapped bundle strapped to his back. Watch it, brat. The stranger's voice rasped like sandpaper on stone as he hoisted Konohamaru by his scarf. Someone ought to teach you some manners. Put him down, Naruto growled, smoke immediately billowing from his shoulders in agitated wisps. Now, the stranger's eyes widened fractionally at the sight of the smoke, but his smirk only deepened. Or what? A blonde kunoichi with 4 spiky ponytails stepped forward, sighing dramatically. Kankuro, stop it. You know we're not here to cause trouble. Foreign ninja, Sasuke observed, coal-black eyes narrowing. From the sand based on your headbands. Why are you in our village? The kunoichi's teal eyes gleamed with condescension. You really don't know? The Chunin exams are being held here this year. We're here to participate. Chunin exams? Naruto echoed, momentarily distracted from the confrontation. A chill swept through the street, raising goose flesh on Naruto's arms. The smoke surrounding him reacted instantly, drawing closer to his body as if seeking warmth. Kankuro, a new voice sliced through the tension, cold and precise as a surgeon's blade. Drop him. Naruto's gaze snapped to a nearby tree where a red-haired boy hung upside down from a branch. His eyes were rimmed with black shadows, the kanji for love carved into his forehead, and the gourd on his back seemed to pulse with ominous energy. Kankuro released Konohamaru as if burned. Chigara! I was just. Shut up, Gaara commanded, sand swirling around him as he materialized beside his teammates. Or I'll kill you. The killing intent radiating from the boy made Naruto's breath catch. His smoke reacted violently, darkening and thickening into protective tendrils that coiled around his arms. Gaara's emotionless eyes fixed on the smoke, a flicker of interest disturbing his impassive mask. You, what is that ability? Before Naruto could respond, Sasuke stepped forward. You. Identify yourself. Gaara of the desert, the redhead replied without shifting his gaze from Naruto's smoke. And you? Sasuke Uchiha. Gaara nodded once, then turned away. Temari, Kankuro. We're leaving. As the Sand siblings departed, Naruto couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had just shifted in his world. The Chunin exams were apparently coming to Konoha, and with them, ninja like Gaara who radiated danger like heat from desert sand. Each of you has the choice to participate or not, Kakashi explained, leaning against the red bridge where Team 7 usually gathered. His visible eye curved in that familiar, unreadable smile. The Chunin exams are no walk in the park. People die. The declaration hung in the air like a physical weight. Sakura swallowed audibly, her usual confidence wavering. Don't look so scared, Sakura-chan. Naruto flung an arm around her shoulders, earning himself a swift elbow to the ribs. We survived Zabuza, didn't we? We can handle anything these exams throw at us. Humph. Sasuke fixed his gaze on the distant Hokage tower. Count me in. Sakura hesitated, then straightened her spine. Me too. And me. Naruto pumped his fist, a curl of smoke spiraling upward with the movement. Believe it! Kakashi handed them their applications, his usually lazy demeanor giving way to something more serious. Report to room 301 at the academy in 5 days. And Naruto, he paused, eye narrowing slightly, that smoke ability of yours, it might draw attention. Be careful. The academy hummed with nervous energy, corridors packed with genin from every hidden village. The air felt thick with anticipation and rivalrous tension as Team 7 navigated the congested hallways. Second floor already? Sakura murmured, eyeing the sign indicating room 201. That was quick. Sasuke's hand brushed her arm, a subtle gesture that spoke volumes. Genjutsu, he whispered. This is still the first floor. They're weeding out the weak from the start. A commotion ahead drew their attention. 2 older genin blocked the entrance to what appeared to be room 301, denying access to a boy in a green jumpsuit with a shiny bowl cut. Despite his pleas, the guards refused to budge. Let's just slip past while everyone's distracted, Naruto suggested, already edging toward the stairs. But Sasuke stepped forward, unable to resist the opportunity to showcase his insight. Drop the illusion. We're going to the 3rd floor. The tension in the hallway thickened as all eyes turned to Team 7. One of the guards smirked, the illusion wavering and dissolving to reveal room 201. Well spotted, he conceded, but seeing through it isn't enough. He launched a lightning-fast kick at Sasuke, who responded in kind. Before either strike could connect, the boy in green intercepted both attacks with blinding speed, catching their legs midair. Lee! A white-eyed boy with long dark hair snapped. Wasn't it your idea to avoid drawing attention? The green-clad boy Lee blushed, releasing the combatants. His round eyes found Sakura, and something akin to lightning seemed to strike him. You! He bounded forward, dropping to one knee before a startled Sakura. You are the most beautiful blossom I have ever seen. I am Rock Lee. Please be my girlfriend. I will protect you with my life. Naruto bristled, smoke curling from his collar. Hey! Back off, bushy brows. The smoke user, the white-eyed boy observed, his pupilless gaze dissecting Naruto with clinical precision. Niji Hyuga. And this is our teammate Tenten. A girl with her hair in twin buns nodded tersely. You're rookies, aren't you? She asked, twirling a kunai between her fingers. This is your first exam? How cute. Cute enough to kick your Naruto began, but Sakura's hand clamped over his mouth. We should get going, she hissed, dragging him toward the stairs. The real room 301 is waiting. Dynamic entry. Lee's foot nearly connected with Sasuke's face as Team 7 traversed the wide training hall on their way to the examination room. Only the Uchiha's reflexes saved him from a direct hit. Fight me, Sasuke Uchiha! Lee demanded, settling into a peculiar stance, one arm extended behind him. I wish to test myself against the genius of the Uchiha clan. We don't have time for this, Sakura protested, checking the clock on the wall. The exam starts in 15 minutes, but Sasuke was already engaging, pride overriding practicality. To everyone's shock, Lee's taijutsu overwhelmed the Uchiha prodigy, sending him careening across the floor despite his newly awakened Sharingan. The Sharingan can see through ninjutsu and genjutsu, Lee explained, moving with impossible speed, but taijutsu is different. Even if your eyes can track me, he vanished, reappearing beneath Sasuke, foot connecting with his chin. Your body can't respond quickly enough. Sasuke flew upward, and Lee appeared behind him in midair, bandages unwrapping from his arms. But before whatever technique he planned could be completed, a pinwheel struck the bandages, pinning them to the wall. That's enough, Lee! A booming voice echoed through the hall as a massive turtle materialized. What followed was a bizarre scene involving Lee Sensei, a larger, more enthusiastic version of Lee himself, and punishment that involved sunset tears and disturbing embraces that left Team 7 speechless. We're leaving, Sasuke finally muttered, still smarting from his defeat. Now, room 301 buzzed like an overturned beehive, packed wall-to-wall with genin from every hidden village. The moment Team 7 entered, a wave of killing intent washed over them, nearly buckling Naruto's knees. Sasuke-kun! A platinum blonde blur tackled Sasuke from behind, arms snaking around his neck. I've missed you! Get off him, Ino pig! Sakura snarled, hands curling into fists. Ino Yamanaka, Sakura's childhood friend turned rival, merely tightened her hold. Make me, billboard brow, troublesome, sighed a drawling voice as Shikamaru Nara approached, hands stuffed in his pockets, followed by a chubby boy munching on chips. I was hoping you rookies wouldn't show up. The gang's all here. Kiba Inuzuka crowed, his Nikken partner Akamaru yipping from atop his head. He was flanked by a hooded boy with sunglasses Shino Aburame, and a shy girl with pale eyes Hinata Hyuga. 9 rookies fresh out of the academy, Kiba continued, canine teeth flashing in a predatory grin. This ought to be fun. At least for those of us who'll survive. You might want to keep it down, advised a silver-haired genin with round glasses, approaching their noisy group. You're attracting the wrong kind of attention. Every eye in the room seemed fixed on the rookie 9, hostility radiating from the older participants. I'm Kabuto, the newcomer introduced himself. This is my 7th attempt at the exams, so I've gathered quite a bit of intelligence. He patted a deck of cards. These are my ninja info cards. I've got data on nearly every participant. Anyone you're curious about? Gaara of the Desert, Sasuke immediately responded. And Rock Lee from Konoha. Kabuto's cards revealed unsettling information. Lee was a taijutsu specialist with no ninjutsu or genjutsu abilities, while Gaara had returned from every mission unscathed, not a scratch on him. What about him? Kiba pointed at Naruto. What's with the smoke thing he does now? Naruto stiffened as Kabuto's eyes narrowed behind his glasses. Interesting, the older genin murmured, flipping through his cards. I don't have any data on a smoke-based ability in Konoha. Care to enlighten us, Naruto? Before Naruto could respond, the front of the room erupted in a cloud of smoke. When it cleared, a scarred, intimidating man in a black trench coat stood before them, flanked by Chunin examiners. All right, you baby-faced degenerates, pipe down, he barked. I am Ibiki Marino, your first examiner. Welcome to hell. The written test was Naruto's worst nightmare. 10 questions of such complexity that his brain threatened to liquefy and leak out his ears. The rules were simple yet devastating. Start with 10 points. Lose 1 for each wrong answer. Lose 2 if caught cheating. And if any team member scored 0, the entire team failed. But the stakes were even higher. Those who failed the 10th question would be barred from future Chunin exams forever. Begin! Ibiki commanded, and the frantic scratching of pencils filled the room. Naruto stared at his paper in mute horror. I don't know any of this. Desperation clawed at his throat as he glanced around, noting Sakura's confident scribbling and Sasuke's intense concentration. Wait a minute, Naruto thought, a realization dawning. Asterisk, these questions are too hard for genin. They want us to cheat. Asterisk. As if confirming his theory, a genin was suddenly yanked from his seat by a Chunin examiner. Caught 5 times, the examiner announced dispassionately. You and your team, out. Throughout the room, various techniques were deployed with subtle precision. Sasuke's Sharingan copied another examinee's pencil movements. Hinata's Byakugan peered through flesh and paper. Kiba received whispered answers from Akamaru. Naruto's palms dampened with sweat. He had no visual techniques, no mind transfer abilities, no insect spies. What he did have, however, taking a deep breath, he focused inward, calling forth his unique chakra. Beneath the desk, nearly invisible against the shadows, wispy gray tendrils of smoke began to seep from his fingertips. Thinner than thread and almost transparent, they crept along the floor, seeking targets. One tendril reached a knowledgeable-looking genin 3 rows ahead, slithering up the leg of his desk. There, it hovered just behind his paper, transmitting faint impressions back to Naruto. It wasn't clear visibility, more like pressure patterns and movement, a smoky approximation of the answers being written. Another tendril sought out Sakura's paper, knowing her analytical mind would have deciphered the correct answers. Naruto's focus narrowed to laser intensity, his face a mask of concentration as he interpreted the sensory feedback through his smoke. Slowly, he began to write, translating the impressions into concrete answers. An examiner passed behind him, pausing briefly. Naruto's heart thundered in his chest, but the tendrils were so faint, so well distributed, that they went unnoticed. Or perhaps, he realized as the examiner moved on, they had been spotted but deemed skillful enough to merit a pass. As the minutes ticked by, Naruto managed to fill in 7 of the 9 questions. Then, finally, Ibiki announced the 10th question. Before I give you the question, you must choose whether to accept it, the scarred examiner explained, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. If you reject it, you fail immediately. If you accept it and answer incorrectly, you will never be allowed to take the Chunin exams again. Genin began to raise their hands, withdrawing from the exam rather than risking permanent genin status. The room thinned as team after team departed. Naruto's hand trembled above the desk. The smoke within him churned anxiously, reflecting his inner turmoil. To risk everything on one question, and yet to surrender without trying, his hand shot up, startling those around him. For a breathless moment, everyone stared. Then, with explosive force, Naruto slammed his palm back onto the desk. Don't underestimate me, he shouted, smoke billowing from his shoulders and agitated clouds. I don't care what question you throw at me. I'll still become Hokage someday. Believe it! His declaration hung in the air, electric and defiant. Then, unexpectedly, Ibiki's scarred face cracked into a grim smile. In that case, all of you who remained pass. The collective shock was palpable. Ibiki explained that there was no 10th question beyond the choice itself, a test of resolve under pressure, the willingness to face the unknown. The earlier questions were designed to test information-gathering skills. Naruto slumped in his seat, relief washing over him in dizzying waves. His smoke dissipated, leaving only faint gray wisps curling from his fingertips. Before the celebration could truly begin, however, the window exploded inward in a shower of glass. A banner unfurled across the front of the room, and a purple-haired woman in a mesh bodysuit struck a dramatic pose. "No time to celebrate, maggots!" she announced with predatory enthusiasm. "I'm Enko Midarashi, your second examiner. Meet me at Training Ground 44 tomorrow morning. Bring your survival gear and your last will and testament." Training Ground 44, better known as the Forest of Death, lived up to its ominous name. Massive trees stretched skyward, their canopies blocking out the sun and casting the forest floor in perpetual twilight. Strange cries echoed from the depths, promising dangers untold. "Each team will receive either a Heaven Scroll or an Earth Scroll," Enko explained, brandishing the two scroll types. "To pass, you need both kinds. You have 5 days to reach the tower at the center with both scrolls. Anything goes inside, including killing." She distributed consent forms with a sadistic grin. "Sign these so Konoha isn't liable when you die." Team 7 received a Heaven Scroll, which Sasuke quickly secured in his weapons pouch. They were assigned to Gate 12, one of many entrances spaced around the forest's perimeter. "Remember," Sasuke murmured as they waited for the signal, "our priority is finding an Earth Scroll and reaching the tower as quickly as possible. No heroics, no detours." Naruto bounced on the balls of his feet, smoke curling excitedly from his shoulders. "This'll be a piece of cake. I bet we make it to the tower by nightfall." The gates swung open with a metallic screech, and the second phase of the Chunin exams began. 3 hours into the Forest of Death, Team 7 had already survived an attack by Rain Ninja, using a password system to identify an imposter who had transformed into Naruto. The real Naruto, separated by the initial assault, rejoined them just in time to witness a horrifying scene. A grass ninja with an inhumanly long tongue faced off against Sasuke, radiating killing intent so powerful it paralyzed them with terror visions of their own deaths. "Your move, Sasuke-kun," the grass ninja purred, her voice slithering over them like a venomous snake. Sasuke, struggling against primal fear, managed to free himself and Sakura with a self-inflicted wound, much as Naruto had done during their first real mission. They fled through the canopy, but their pursuer was relentless. When a massive snake materialized to swallow Naruto whole, the blonde's panic triggered a massive eruption of smoke that filled the serpent's lungs, causing it to cough him up before it could digest him. "Get away from my friends!" Naruto roared, smoke billowing around him as he launched himself at the grass ninja who had cornered Sasuke and Sakura. The ninja's strange yellow eyes fixated on the approaching smoke cloud with sudden, intense interest. "What have we here? A smoke user?" A brutal wind technique sent Naruto flying into the distance, his body smashing through branches before impacting a massive trunk, leaving him temporarily incapacitated. Meanwhile, Sasuke engaged the enemy, exhausting his arsenal of fire techniques and shuriken attacks. Nothing seemed to harm the grass ninja, who moved with inhuman flexibility, regenerating from wounds that should have been fatal. "Magnificent, Sasuke-kun!" The ninja praised, voice deepening, becoming more masculine. But not enough. The enemy's face began to peel, revealing chalk-white skin beneath and a single purple marking over the eye. "Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Orochimaru." The name sent ice through Sasuke's veins, one of the legendary Sannin, a rogue ninja of incomprehensible power. "What do you want?" Sakura demanded, kunai trembling in her grip. "Why, Sasuke-kun's eyes, of course," Orochimaru smiled, the expression never reaching his serpentine eyes. "The power of the Uchiha is wasted on one so hesitant." His neck extended impossibly, head shooting towards Sasuke with fangs bared. "Sasuke!" Naruto's voice tore through the forest as he returned, hands forming his signature cross seal. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. The clearing exploded with orange and smoke as dozens of clones materialized, forming a protective barrier around Sasuke. But Orochimaru was undeterred. With terrifying efficiency, he dispatched the clones, plunging his fangs into Sasuke's neck just as Naruto's smoke began to thicken around them. Sasuke's agonized scream echoed through the forest as a strange mark manifested at the bite location. He collapsed, writhing in pain. "What did you do to him?" Naruto demanded, his smoke darkening with rage, threatening to shift toward the ominous red-black of his most emotional moments. Orochimaru paused, yellow eyes widening with genuine surprise as he studied the smoke phenomenon more carefully. Fascinating. I thought smoke manipulation was extinct. He tilted his head, tongue flicking out to taste the air. The Nine-Tails chakra has mutated your natural affinity into something unique. Stay away from them. Naruto growled, his smoke condensing into semi-solid tendrils that lashed toward Orochimaru like striking snakes. The Sannin dodged effortlessly, but his expression had changed from dismissive to calculating. 2 prizes in one team, how fortuitous. The last Uchiha and a smoke manipulator. He chuckled, the sound like dry scales sliding across stone. We'll meet again, Naruto-kun. I look forward to seeing what you become. With those ominous words, Orochimaru melted into the bark of a nearby tree, leaving Team 7 severely weakened in the predator-filled forest. Sakura, showing unexpected resourcefulness, managed to relocate them to a hollow beneath a massive tree's roots. There, she tended to the unconscious Sasuke while Naruto kept watch, his smoke extending in a perimeter alarm system. He'll be okay, right? Naruto asked, voice stripped of its usual bravado. I don't know, Sakura admitted, gently pressing a wet cloth to Sasuke's burning forehead. Her green eyes lifted to Naruto's, filled with fears she couldn't voice. What was that he said about your smoke? About it being extinct? Naruto shook his head, watching the gray wisps curl between his fingers. I don't know. No one's ever mentioned anything like that before. He clenched his fist, the smoke compressing momentarily before dispersing. But if this ability is special enough for someone like Orochimaru to be interested, he didn't finish the thought. He didn't need to. The next 3 days were a nightmarish blur of exhaustion, combat, and desperate survival. While Sasuke remained unconscious, Team 7 was ambushed by the sound Team Orochimaru's pawns. They later realized, leading to a confrontation that awakened something dark within Sasuke. The strange mark on his neck spread across half his body, radiating malevolent chakra as he nearly tore off the arm of one attacker before Sakura's tearful embrace brought him back to his senses. By some miracle, they acquired an earth scroll and made it to the central tower with hours to spare. Inside, they deciphered a riddle about heaven and earth that prompted them to open both scrolls simultaneously, summoning Irika-sensei, who explained the philosophy behind the exam that Chunin needed balanced strengths of mind, heaven, and body, earth. Of the 78 genin who entered the forest, only 21 remained. 7 teams had survived to reach the preliminary matches that would determine who advanced to the final tournament. The Hokage himself addressed them, explaining that the exam served as a substitute for war between villages, allowing them to showcase their strength to potential clients. Due to the unexpectedly large number of survivors, however, preliminary matches would be necessary. A sickly proctor named Hate Gecko took over, announcing that the electronic scoreboard would randomly select one-on-one matches. Winners would advance to the finals a month later. The matches were brutal and revealing. Sasuke barely defeated a chakra-draining opponent before being whisked away by Kakashi to deal with the curse mark. Shino's insects devoured an air pressure user's chakra. Kankuro's puppet crushed an opponent in seconds. Sakura fought Ino to a double knockout. Temari's wind devastated Tenten's weapons. Shikamaru outsmarted a sound Kunoichi with his shadow techniques. Niji nearly killed his cousin Hinata, revealing deep-seated hatred within the Hyuga clan. Gaara's sand entombed and would have killed Lee had Might Guy not intervened. Then, finally, the board displayed Naruto Uzumaki vs Kiba Inuzuka. Yahoo! Kiba howled, leaping into the arena with Akamaru at his heels. We got lucky, boy. We're up against the dead last. Naruto descended the stairs more deliberately, smoke already curling from his shoulders in anticipation. I'm not the same kid from the academy, dog breath, he warned, recalling how Kiba had always mocked him. Still a loser, Kiba sneered, settling into a feral crouch. Let's finish this quick, Akamaru. Begin. Hate announced, leaping back. Kiba's initial assault was devastating, his beast mimicry technique enhancing his speed and strength, allowing him to slam into Naruto with the force of a battering ram. The blonde skidded across the floor, gasping for breath. That all you got? Kiba taunted, cracking his knuckles. I haven't even used my best moves yet. Naruto wiped blood from his split lip, smoke beginning to leak from his skin in earnest now. I'm just getting started. Akamaru. Kiba tossed a food pill to his Niken partner, whose white fur turned red with the chakra boost. Man-beast clone. In a puff of smoke, Akamaru transformed into a perfect duplicate of Kiba. The pair circled Naruto, identical feral grins on their faces. Naruto formed the cross seal. Shadow clone Jutsu. A dozen smoke-trailing Narutos appeared, evening the odds. The clones charged, engaging both Kibas in a whirlwind of punches and kicks. but the Inuzuka's superior speed and coordination allowed them to dispel the clones one by one. "Fong over Fong!" Kiba shouted, and both he and his transformed partner began spinning at tremendous speeds, becoming twin drilling tornadoes that tore through Naruto's remaining clones. The real Naruto took a direct hit, blood spraying from his mouth as he crashed into the wall. "Give up," Kiba advised, panting slightly from the exertion. "You can't beat our noses. We can smell exactly where you are, even with your shadow clones." A slow smile spread across Naruto's battered face. "That's so?" He pulled himself to his feet, hands forming a new seal configuration. The smoke that had been leisurely trailing from his body suddenly intensified, billowing outward in thick, choking clouds that quickly filled the arena floor. "What the?" Kiba's voice came from within the smoke cloud, followed by a startled yelp from Akamaru. Up in the observation deck, the other genin leaned forward in fascination. "What is that technique?" Ino asked, squinting to see through the gray haze. "Some kind of smoke ninjutsu," Shikamaru murmured, eyes narrowed analytically. "But I've never seen anything like it in Konoha's archives." In the arena, Kiba and Akamaru were in disarray. The smoke carried Naruto's scent particles everywhere, overwhelming their sensitive noses. Worse, it seemed to cling to their fur and skin, further confusing their tracking abilities. "This won't stop us," Kiba snarled, his voice strained from the irritating smoke. "Fong over Fong!" The twin tornadoes formed again, blindly tearing through the smoke cloud but hitting nothing but air as Naruto dodged, using the cover to reposition. "Can't smell me now, can you?" Naruto taunted, his voice seeming to come from multiple directions at once. "What good are those supernoses now?" Frustration mounting, Kiba switched tactics. "Akamaru, spread out. He can't hide forever." As the pair separated to cover more ground, Naruto made his move. His hands formed the cross seal again, but this time, something different happened. The smoke around him thickened, coalescing into solid shapes, wolf-like constructs of dense gray smoke with gleaming eyes that matched Naruto's azure blue. "What the hell?" Kiba gasped as one of the smoke wolves lunged at him, its jaws snapping with surprising solidity. He barely avoided the bite, feeling the pressure as it grazed his arm. Across the arena, Akamaru yelped as another smoke wolf pinned him, its weight substantial enough to hold the Nikken in place. "Like them?" Naruto emerged from the thinning smoke, flanked by 3 more of the spectral canines. "I've been practicing. They're not perfect yet, but they're solid enough to do some damage." The remaining smoke wolves charged Kiba, who desperately tried to fend them off with kunai that passed through some parts, while connecting solidly with others. Their inconsistent solidity made them unpredictable opponents. While Kiba was distracted, Naruto himself attacked from behind, landing a solid kick that sent the Inuzuka tumbling across the floor. "Giving up yet?" Naruto asked, as one smoke wolf pinned Kiba by the throat, its jaws hovering inches from his face. Hate stepped forward, coughing lightly. "The winner is Naruto Uzumaki." The spectators erupted in shocked murmurs. Naruto Uzumaki, the dead last, had defeated one of the most promising genin from a prominent clan and with a technique no one recognized. As the smoke dissipated, Naruto extended a hand to help Kiba up, sporting a genuine smile. "Good match." Kiba stared at the offered hand for a moment before grudgingly accepting it. "What the hell was that jutsu? Since when can you do whatever that was?" Naruto's grin widened. "Just something I've been figuring out." "Pretty cool, huh?" As Naruto ascended the stairs to rejoin the other competitors, he found himself the center of attention. Even Gaara's emotionless gaze followed him with newfound intensity. "Naruto," Shikamaru drawled, lazily leaning against the railing. "Those smoke constructs, they weren't just visual illusions. They had physical form." "Yeah." Naruto bounced on his toes, excitement bubbling over. "I've been working on making the smoke solid enough to actually do stuff. They're not perfect yet, parts are still kinda ghostly, but they're getting better." Behind him, unnoticed, a white-haired figure observed from the shadows, features partially obscured by red face paint. "Interesting," Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin, murmured to himself. "Very interesting indeed." After the preliminaries concluded, the winners drew lots to determine the tournament bracket for the finals. Naruto would face Neji Hyuga in the first round, a daunting prospect given what they'd witnessed of the Hyuga prodigy's abilities against Hinata. As Naruto left the tower, mulling over training strategies for the month ahead, a large hand clapped onto his shoulder. "Hey there, kid," a booming voice greeted him. Naruto turned to find himself face to chest with a mountain of a man sporting spiky white hair and red facial markings. "Let's have a chat about that smoke trick of yours." "Who are you?" Naruto demanded, automatically stepping back, smoke curling defensively around his fingers. The man struck a ridiculous pose. I'm glad you asked. I am the hermit of Mount Myaboku, the wise sage who was trained by the toads, the legendary author of well, never mind that part. I am the great Jiraiya. The dramatic introduction hung in the air, met only by Naruto's blank stare. Nothing? Kids these days have no respect for greatness, Jiraiya sighed, abandoning his pose. I'm one of the legendary Sannin, along with Tsunade and Orochimaru. Naruto's eyes widened at the mention of the snake-like ninja who had attacked them in the forest. You know Orochimaru? He did something to Sasuke, and he said weird stuff about my smoke ability. I'll bet he did. Jiraiya's jovial demeanor sobered slightly. That's why I'm here. Kakashi's busy with your Uchiha friend, but you need training too, especially with that unique ability of yours. You know about my smoke jutsu? Naruto asked, suddenly hopeful. No one had been able to give him much guidance about his developing powers. Jiraiya rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Not exactly, but I've got theories. That smoke is not a standard nature transformation. From what I saw during your match, it appears to be a combined nature transformation extremely rare, and usually manifesting as a Kekkai Genkai. A combined what now? Naruto's brow furrowed in confusion. Nature transformation, Jiraiya repeated, leading Naruto toward a quieter area. Most ninja have an affinity for one of the 5 basic nature types: fire, wind, lightning, earth, or water. Advanced ninja can learn to use multiple types, but some extremely rare individuals can combine 2 natures simultaneously, creating something entirely new. Naruto's eyes widened with dawning comprehension. Like Haku's ice mirrors. He could combine water and wind to make ice. Exactly. Jiraiya nodded approvingly. That was the Yuki clan's Kekkai Genkai. But your smoke, that's something different. If I had to guess, I'd say it's a combination of fire and air natures, perhaps influenced by the Nine-Tails chakra. Naruto stiffened. You know about the fox? Kid, there's very little I don't know. Jiraiya's tone was gentle despite the boast. The Nine-Tails chakra is probably what triggered this unusual development. Your body adapted to channel its influence in a unique way. So no one else can do this? Naruto held out his palm, watching as smoke curled between his fingers like a living thing. I wouldn't say that. Jiraiya's expression turned thoughtful. Orochimaru mentioned extinction, which suggests there might have been others with this ability in the past. The ninja world is vast, and bloodlines have a way of disappearing and re-emerging throughout history. Hope kindled in Naruto's chest the possibility that his ability wasn't just a freakish manifestation of the demons sealed within him, but something with precedent, with history, a legacy he could claim. Will you help me master it? Naruto asked, azure eyes blazing with determination. I'm fighting Neji in the first round, and he's crazy strong. Jiraiya stroked his chin, considering the eager boy before him. I suppose I could teach you a thing or two, not just about your smoke, but other techniques that might complement it. A mischievous grin spread across his face. Tell you what, meet me at the hot springs tomorrow morning. We'll see what you're really capable of. As Jiraiya sauntered away, Naruto punched the air triumphantly, smoke spiraling upward with the motion. A legendary Sannin had taken interest in him not because of the Nine-Tails, but because of his unique ability. For the first time, the smoke within him felt less like a strange aberration and more like a gift of power that was his alone, to shape and master as he saw fit. The finals loomed ahead, promising greater challenges and revelations. But as Naruto gazed up at the star-filled sky above Konoha, he couldn't help but feel that, finally, he was on the right path. The smoke was revealing its secrets, one wisp at a time. Dawn painted Konoha's hot springs in shimmering gold, steam rising like spectral dancers in the early morning light. Naruto paced impatiently, sandals slapping against wet stone, each footfall punctuated by the rhythmic drip from bamboo waterspouts nearby. No sign of the self-proclaimed great Jiraiya. He's late, Naruto grumbled, smoke curling from his fingertips in agitated wisps that mirrored his mood. Some legendary Sannin. A high-pitched giggle erupted from behind the women's bathing area, followed by furious female shrieks and the unmistakable sound of sandals slapping against flesh. You pervert! Naruto's eyebrow twitched as a white-haired figure came sailing over the bamboo fence, crashing face first into the dirt at his feet. Jiraiya sprang up with surprising agility for a man his size, brushing dirt from his red haiwari as if being caught peeping was merely a professional hazard. Research, he declared with unrepentant enthusiasm. Essential for my literary masterpieces. You're just a dirty old man. Naruto jabbed an accusatory finger at him. And you're late. How am I supposed to beat Neji if my teacher can't even show up on time? Jiraiya sniffed, drawing himself up to his full, imposing height. A true shinobi masters the art of patience, kid. Yeah, right. Naruto crossed his arms, unimpressed. Did your research teach you that? A glint appeared in Jiraiya's dark eyes, sharp and assessing beneath the ridiculous facade. Let's see what you've got then. Show me this smoke ability of yours. Naruto's irritation evaporated, replaced by eager excitement. He extended his palm, brow furrowing in concentration. Gray tendrils coiled from his skin, thickening and swirling until they formed a basketball-sized sphere hovering above his hand. I can make it bigger, he boasted, channeling more chakra. The sphere expanded, wisps dancing along its edges. And I can kinda make shapes now, like those wolves I used against Kiba. They're not super solid though. Jiraiya circled him, analyzing the smoke manifestation from every angle. His usual buffoonery vanished, replaced by the sharp intellect of a master shinobi. Try to hit me with it, he commanded without warning, leaping back 20 feet. Why? But I don't know if I can. Stop overthinking and do it. Jiraiya barked, his voice cracking like a whip. Naruto gritted his teeth and thrust his palm forward. The smoke sphere shot toward Jiraiya but dissipated halfway there, scattering into wisps that curled harmlessly around the sand and sandals. Pathetic, Jiraiya declared, but his eyes gleamed with calculation rather than disappointment. Your chakra control is abysmal. The smoke loses cohesion the moment it leaves your immediate proximity. Well, how do I fix that? Naruto demanded, fists clenching at his sides. Jiraiya grinned, a predatory expression that promised suffering disguised as training. First, we address the elephant in the room, or rather, the fox in your belly. Sunlight filtered through emerald leaves as Naruto lay flat on his back, sweat-drenched and gasping, in a secluded forest clearing. 3 days of Jiraiya's brutal training regime had left him feeling like he'd been trampled by Konoha's entire shinobi force. Get up, Jiraiya commanded, his tone broking no argument. Time for the next phase. I can't feel my anything, Naruto wheezed, but forced himself upright anyway. Thin wisps of smoke leaked from his chakra points, a sign of exhaustion Jiraiya had explained was unique to his condition. Good news, kid, Jiraiya announced, crossing his arms over his broad chest. I've figured out why your smoke goes haywire when you tap into the Ninetales chakra. Naruto perked up instantly, fatigue momentarily forgotten. Really? Why? Opposing nature transformations, Jiraiya explained, scratching his chin thoughtfully. Your natural affinity is wind, and the fox's chakra has a strong fire component. When they mix without control, your smoke turns that nasty red-black color and becomes caustic, dangerously hot and corrosive. He reached into his vest and pulled out a small slip of paper. Channel chakra into this. Naruto took the paper, focusing his energy into it. The paper split cleanly in two, then the edges curled and blackened slightly. Just as I thought, Jiraiya nodded. Primarily wind, with trace fire influence from the fox. Most shinobi have one primary nature. You effectively have two competing ones, which is why your smoke can change properties so dramatically depending on your emotional state. So how do I control it? Naruto asked, eyes fixed on the paper's blackened edges. Jiraiya's grin widened. By looking inside yourself. Before Naruto could question this cryptic statement, Jiraiya's palms slammed into his stomach. 5 glowing fingertips drove into the seal, and the world dissolved into darkness. Naruto found himself ankle-deep in cold water, standing in a vast, dimly lit sewer. The place reeked of ancient power and barely contained malevolence. Pipes ran along the ceiling, some glowing blue, others pulsing with ominous red light. Where are we? He asked, voice echoing eerily in the cavernous space. Your mind, Jiraiya's voice replied from behind him. Or more specifically, the manifestation of your inner chakra network. Follow the red pipes. The corridor stretched endlessly, twisting deeper into shadow until it opened into an enormous chamber. A colossal gate dominated the far wall, sealed by a small paper tag bearing the kanji for seal. Beyond the bars, darkness shifted and coalesced into a pair of enormous, slitted crimson eyes. So, my jailer finally appears, rumbled a voice that vibrated in Naruto's bones. Come closer, little human. Let me get a better look at you. Asterisk. Naruto took an involuntary step back, but Jiraiya's hand on his shoulder steadied him. We're here to make a deal, Ninetales, Jiraiya announced, his usual bombast replaced by deadly seriousness. Laughter like grinding mountains filled the chamber. A deal? With insects? How amusing. Asterisk. A massive fox's head materialized from the darkness, 9 tails whipping behind it. What could you possibly offer me? Cooperation, Jiraiya stated simply. Naruto needs better access to your chakra-controlled access. In return, he'll loosen the seal just enough to make your existence less restrictive. The fox snarled, baring teeth larger than Naruto's entire body. You think I can't take his chakra whenever I want? That smoke ability of his is just a side effect of my power leaking through your pathetic seal. Asterisk asterisk. You're wrong, Naruto found his voice, stepping forward despite the suffocating killing intent. This smoke is mine. You just make it go weird when I get upset. Insolent brat, the Nine-Tails growled, but something like curiosity flickered in those massive eyes. That smoke manipulation is an ancient bloodline technique, extinct for generations. You shouldn't be able to produce it at all. Asterisk asterisk. Naruto blinked in surprise. Wait, you know about it? I have existed for centuries, child, the fox rumbled. I have seen the rise and fall of clans with powers beyond your comprehension. The Kamuri clan could manipulate smoke, bending it to their will for both stealth and combat. Asterisk asterisk. The Kamuri clan, Naruto whispered, tasting the name of this forgotten lineage. Are you saying I'm related to them? Who knows? Human bloodlines are insignificant to me. But your particular manifestation is unusual. It seems to draw upon both your natural chakra and mine, creating something neither of us fully controls. Asterisk asterisk. Jiraiya stroked his chin thoughtfully. That would explain the red smoke when you're emotionally triggered. The fox's chakra bleeds into your technique, altering its properties. So if I learn to control the fox's chakra, Naruto began, you'll gain mastery over both aspects of your smoke, Jiraiya finished, a calculating gleam in his eye. Normal smoke for stealth and distraction, red smoke for more offensive applications. The Nine-Tails snorted, hot breath washing over them. And why would I willingly share my power? Because, Naruto said, meeting that crimson gaze without flinching, we're stuck together. If I die, you disappear too. Wouldn't you rather I be strong enough to keep us both alive? A long silence stretched between human and demon, broken only by the distant drip of water. Very well, the fox finally growled. I will permit you limited access to my chakra. But know this, child power always demands payment. Someday, I will collect what is due. Asterisk asterisk. The following weeks passed in a blur of sweat and smoke. Dawn after dawn found Naruto standing in rushing rivers, attempting to balance leaf after leaf on his forehead, while maintaining smoke constructs around him. Night after night, he collapsed into exhausted slumber, only to be jolted awake at sunrise by Jiraiya's booming voice demanding 1,000 more tries. But results began to show. The smoke responded more readily to his commands, maintaining cohesion at greater distances. With careful chakra control exercises, Naruto learned to vary its temperature, density, and even color with conscious thought rather than emotional reactions. Again, Jiraiya commanded from his perch atop a boulder, sake cup in hand. This time, try channeling your chakra through the smoke after you release it. Naruto, knee-deep in swirling river water, gritted his teeth and extended his hand. Smoke poured from his palm, coalescing into a rough approximation of a wolf's head. Focus! Jiraiya barked. Visualize a pathway through the smoke, like chakra threads but wider. Sweat beaded on Naruto's brow as he concentrated. The smoke wolf's form solidified, eyes gleaming with the same azure blue as his own. He pushed more chakra through his palm, watching it flow visibly through the smoky construct like lightning through storm clouds. The wolf's head suddenly snapped forward, jaws closing around a falling leaf 30 feet away. Yes. Naruto punched the air triumphantly, forgetting his concentration. The wolf dissolved instantly, scattering into wisps that were quickly carried away by the breeze. Not bad, Jiraiya admitted, setting down his sake cup. But maintaining it while performing other actions is the real challenge. In combat, you won't have the luxury of standing still and concentrating. So what's next? Naruto asked eagerly, wading toward shore. Jiraiya's eyes gleamed with mischief. A field test. 3 days before the finals, Jiraiya led Naruto to an isolated plateau miles from the village. The rugged landscape was dotted with boulders and scrubby vegetation perfect for what he had in mind. Today, Jiraiya announced with theatrical gravity, you will create your first original jutsu. Naruto's eyes widened. Like my own technique? Not just using the smoke for basic stuff? Exactly, Jiraiya nodded. Every great shinobi has signature techniques that define their combat style. You've got your shadow clone jutsu, but that's not unique to you. Your smoke manipulation, however, could be my signature style, Naruto finished, excitement building in his chest. You've been practicing with the wolf head, Jiraiya noted. Let's expand on that concept. Instead of one wolf, try making multiple smaller wolves that you can direct independently. Naruto closed his eyes, focusing on the feeling of his chakra mingling with the Nine-Tails, creating that perfect balance that produced his most stable smoke forms. Gray mist poured from his skin, pooling around his feet before rising and separating into distinct clouds. Now, shape and solidify, Jiraiya instructed. With gritted teeth, Naruto forced structure into the swirling chaos. The smoke clouds elongated, developed legs, heads, tails until 7 smoke wolves circled him, each the size of a large dog, their forms shifting and rippling but maintaining their basic shape. Good, Jiraiya approved. Now, here's where it gets tricky. You need to establish a persistent chakra link with each one, so they can move independently while still following your commands. Like remote control? Naruto squinted, trying to understand. More like extensions of yourself, Jiraiya corrected. Think of your shadow clones, they have your consciousness, your intentions. These wolves need the same connection, just without being solid clones. Naruto nodded, focusing harder. Threads of blue chakra extended from his body to each wolf, nearly invisible but vital. The wolves' eyes began to glow brighter, their movements becoming more fluid, more alive. Now, Jiraiya said, suddenly tossing several kunai into the air, attack the targets. Without conscious thought, Naruto directed the wolf pack. They moved with startling speed, leaping to intercept the kunai mid-flight. Where their smoke bodies connected with the weapons, they briefly solidified enough to knock them off course. Holy crap! Naruto gaped at his own creation. They actually did it. That's just the beginning, Jiraiya grinned. Keep practicing. I want you to be able to maintain that wolf pack for at least 5 minutes in combat conditions. We'll call it Smoke Style, Ashen Wolf Pack. The morning of the finals dawned clear and brilliant. The enormous arena buzzed with excited spectators, dignitaries from distant lands, wealthy clients scouting talent, and ordinary citizens eager for the spectacle. In a private box overlooking it all sat the third Hokage alongside the Kazekage, their formal robes billowing slightly in the gentle breeze. Below, in the competitors' waiting area, Naruto bounced on the balls of his feet, adrenaline thrumming through his veins. Nearby stood the other finalists, Sasuke, conspicuously absent, Shino, Shikamaru, Temari, Kankuro, and Gaara, whose emotionless eyes occasionally flickered toward Naruto with inscrutable intent. First match, Naruto Uzumaki vs Neji Hyuga. The proctor announced, voice carrying throughout the stadium. Naruto locked eyes with Neji, whose pale Byakugan-ready gaze radiated cold confidence. The memory of how brutally he defeated Hinata burned in Naruto's mind, fueling his determination. Good luck, Shikamaru murmured beside him. You'll need it against the Hyuga. Luck's got nothing to do with it, Naruto replied, a grin spreading across his face as smoke began to curl from his fingertips. I've got a few surprises for Mr. Destiny. The crowd roared as they entered the arena, Neji walking with the measured grace of nobility, Naruto with bouncing, irrepressible energy. They faced each other across the dusty battlefield, the contrast between them stark. The prodigy versus the dead last, fate versus determination. You should forfeit now, Neji stated, his voice carrying the absolute certainty of someone who believed the match was predetermined. Fate has already declared me the winner. Funny, Naruto retorted, smoke beginning to curl around his shoulders. I don't remember Fate saying anything to me. Must have had me on mute. A ripple of laughter swept through the crowd, quickly silenced by Neji's icy glare. Begin! The proctor called, leaping clear of the battlefield. Neji activated his Byakugan, veins bulging around his eyes as he assumed the gentle fist stance. I can see your chakra network clearly. Those smoke tricks won't help you against these eyes. Naruto grinned wider, hands forming his signature cross seal. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. The arena exploded with orange and wisping gray as dozens of Narutos materialized, each trailing the now familiar smoke. Your clones won't confuse me, Neji stated calmly. I can identify the real you instantly. The clones charged en masse, a wave of orange jumpsuits converging on the Hyuga prodigy. Neji moved with fluid precision, each strike dissolving a clone in a puff of smoke. But strangely, rather than dispersing, the smoke from each defeated clone hung in the air, gradually filling the arena with a thin gray haze. From the Kage box, the third Hokage leaned forward with interest. Clever strategy, he murmured. He's deliberately creating cover. In the battlefield below, Neji spun through another group of clones, his Byakugan easily identifying the real Naruto hanging back at the edge of the arena. Is this all you have? Neji called, dispatching the last nearby clone. Hiding while sending copies to their doom? How fitting for a failure. Who's hiding? Naruto's voice echoed from multiple directions at once, though Neji could clearly see him standing still. A flicker of confusion crossed Neji's face as his Byakugan registered something unusual. The smoke wasn't just hanging passively in the air. It was circulating, carrying Naruto's chakra signature throughout the battlefield. What trick is this? Neji demanded, spinning to track the movement around him. Without warning, the hanging smoke coalesced into streaking gray missiles that shot toward him from every direction. Niji instantly launched into his clan's ultimate defense. Rotation! He cried, spinning rapidly to create a dome of chakra that deflected the smoke projectiles. But unlike physical attacks, the smoke simply broke apart upon impact, reforming behind the rotation to continue the assault. When Niji stopped spinning, disoriented, the real Naruto was nowhere to be seen despite what his Byakugan insisted. Impossible, Niji muttered, eyes darting around. I can see you clearly, but I'm not where your eyes say I am, Naruto's voice confirmed, seeming to come from everywhere at once. Smoke carries chakra particles, Niji. Your Byakugan tracks chakra. See the problem? For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Niji's aristocratic features. His Byakugan showed Naruto's chakra signature in multiple locations simultaneously, a confusing fog of false positives. The smoke thickened suddenly, gathering into 7 distinct forms that circled Niji like predatory wolves. Their eyes gleamed with eerie blue light, jaws opening to reveal misty fangs. Smoke style, Ashen Wolf Pack. Naruto's voice announced from within the technique. The wolves attacked in coordinated pairs, forcing Niji to defend against opponents that were neither fully solid nor completely intangible. His precise gentle fist strikes passed through parts of them, while connecting solidly with others. Wherever he landed a hit, the smoke briefly dispersed only to reform seconds later. Your fate is sealed, Niji declared, desperation creeping into his voice as he launched another rotation, momentarily dispersing the wolves. That's when the real Naruto struck, erupting from underground directly beneath Niji as the rotation ended, landing an uppercut that sent the Hyuga airborne. My fate? Naruto growled, launching himself after his opponent. I write my own destiny. He slammed Niji back to earth with a devastating axe kick. The Hyuga prodigy crashed into the dirt, creating a small impact crater. When the dust settled, Niji lay defeated, staring up at the sky with shocked eyes. How, he whispered as Naruto stood over him. The main branch's destiny is to rule over the branch family. Your destiny was to lose to me. How did you defy fate? Naruto's smoke wolves dissipated as he extended a hand to his fallen opponent. Because destiny isn't something decided for you before you're born. It's something you create with each choice you make. The stadium erupted in thunderous applause as the proctor declared Naruto the winner. In the stands, Hinata pressed her hands to her heart, tears glistening in her pale eyes. Incredible, Jiraiya murmured from his position in the upper stands. He used the smoke to confuse the Byakugan's chakra detection. Even I didn't think of that application. The subsequent matches blurred into a tense holding pattern. Shikamaru demonstrated brilliant strategy against Temari before forfeiting out of sheer laziness. Kankuro mysteriously withdrew before his match. And still, Sasuke hadn't appeared for his scheduled fight against Gaara. Then, just as the proctor was about to disqualify him, Sasuke arrived in a swirl of leaves alongside Kakashi, sporting new black attire and a dangerous intensity in his eyes. The match against Gaara began spectacularly, with Sasuke demonstrating speed that mirrored Lee's and a lightning technique called Chidori that actually penetrated Gaara's supposedly impenetrable sand defense. But then, everything went to hell. Feathers began falling from the sky, a mass genjutsu that sent civilians slumping into unconsciousness. Explosions rocked the village perimeter as shinobi in sound and sand uniforms poured over the walls. Invasion! Kakashi shouted, dispelling the genjutsu affecting nearby ninja. In the Kage box, the Kazekage revealed himself to be Orochimaru in disguise, taking the third Hokage hostage and establishing a barrier that prevented interference. Meanwhile, a wounded Gaara fled the arena with his siblings, Sasuke in hot pursuit despite orders to stay back. Naruto! Kakashi appeared beside him, deflecting a sound ninja's attack. Find Sakura and Shikamaru. I'm giving you an A-rank mission. Stop Sasuke and bring him back. Gaara is unstable. If his inner demon awakens, all of you could die. Inner demon? Naruto repeated, understanding dawning. He's like me, isn't he? A Jinchuriki? Kakashi's single eye widened fractionally. Yes. Now go! The forest blurred beneath Naruto's feet as he raced through the canopy, Sakura and Shikamaru flanking him. They'd been joined by Pakken, Kakashi's Niken summon, who tracked Sasuke's scent through the dense woodland. There's Sasuke! Sakura pointed ahead where a dark figure faced off against Gaara, who had undergone a hideous partial transformation. Sand encased his right side, forming a monstrous arm and distorting his face into something barely human. Stay back! Sasuke warned, clutching his shoulder in pain. The curse marks spread across his skin in flame-like patterns. Before anyone could react, Gaara launched himself at Sasuke with inhuman speed. Tendrils of sand lashed out, one catching Sakura and pinning her against a massive tree trunk. "I'll kill her," Gaara rasped, his voice distorted and layered with another, more monstrous entity. "Then you. Then everyone. Shikamaru, get Sasuke out of here," Naruto commanded, smoke already billowing from his body in agitated clouds. "I've got this. Are you insane?" Shikamaru protested. "That's a tailed beast chakra. You can't. I'm the only one who can," Naruto cut him off, his eyes flashing with determination. "Trust me." Something in his voice and authority that brooked no argument made Shikamaru nod reluctantly. He helped Sasuke retreat to a safer distance while Naruto faced the transforming Gaara alone. Gaara fixed his mismatched eyes on Naruto, the human one widening in recognition. "The smoke user. Mother wants your blood." "Your mother?" Naruto asked, circling warily, the voice inside me. "She only quiets when I feed her blood," Gaara's voice cracked with genuine anguish beneath the bloodlust. "What silence is yours?" Understanding bloomed in Naruto's chest, painful, profound recognition of a kindred spirit. "I don't silence mine," he answered honestly. "I've started talking to it instead." Gaara's face contorted with fury. "Liar!" Sand erupted around him, completing his transformation into a miniature version of the One Tail. "You can't reason with a demon, you can only surrender to it." Smoke poured from Naruto's body as he drew on the Nine Tails chakra, carefully controlling the mixture this time. The smoke turned deep crimson at its core while maintaining gray edges, a perfect fusion of his chakra and the fox's. "Smoke style, Ashen Wolf Pack," he cried, the smoke coalescing into 7 massive wolves, each one larger than before, their eyes glowing with an unearthly red-blue light. The wolves charged, their partially solid bodies colliding with Gaara's sand constructs. Where the crimson-tinged smoke touched the sand, something extraordinary happened. The sand particles became trapped in the smoke, slowing their movement, becoming heavier and less responsive to Gaara's control. "What is this?" Gaara howled in outrage. "My sand won't move properly." "Smoke seeps between particles," Naruto explained, directing his wolves to circle and harass from multiple angles. "It's getting between your sand grains, and my chakra is solidifying it there." With Gaara's defenses compromised, Naruto created a regiment of shadow clones that attacked alongside the smoke wolves. The combined assault drove Gaara back, step by step, until he resorted to his ultimate defense, fully transforming into the massive tanuki form of the One Tail. "Now I'll show you true despair." Gaara's voice echoed from somewhere within the gigantic sand creature. His body emerged from the creature's forehead, eyes closing as he performed a technique to force himself to sleep, giving the One Tail complete control. "Free at last," the beast roared, its voice shaking the very forest. "This is bad," Naruto muttered, smoke swirling protectively around him. He bit his thumb, flashing through hand signs Jiraiya had taught him. Summoning Jutsu, a massive cloud of smoke erupted beneath him, but instead of the giant toad he'd hoped for, a small, brightly colored toad appeared. "Heya!" the toad greeted cheerfully. "I'm Gamakichi. Dad's busy, so WH." He broke off, staring up at the towering sand tanuki. "Is that the One Tail? We're gonna die." "Not helping," Naruto growled, trying the summoning again with more of the Nine Tails chakra. This time, a colossal toad appeared beneath him, pipe clenched between massive lips. "Who dares summon me, Gamabunta, the Toad Chief?" the enormous amphibian demanded. "I did," Naruto shouted from atop his head. "And we've got a tailed beast to fight, so less talking, more fighting." The battle that ensued was cataclysmic, ancient titans clashing amid splintering trees and earth-shaking impacts. Gamabunta's water bullets turned portions of the One Tail's body to mud, while its air bullets compressed sand into temporary stone. Throughout the chaos, Naruto maintained his concentration on a single goal: reach Gaara and wake him up. "I need to get close," he shouted to Gamabunta. "Can you transform into something with claws and teeth? Something that could grab and hold that thing?" "Transformation isn't my specialty," Gamabunta grumbled, "but with your chakra to mold the form." Together, they created a combined transformation, Gamabunta's massive body taking on the shape of the nine-tailed fox itself, much to the real fox's indignation within Naruto. The transformed toad fox latched onto the One Tail with powerful claws and fangs, creating the opening Naruto needed. He leapt from Gamabunta's head, smoke trailing behind him like a comet's tail as he soared toward Gaara's unconscious form. "Wake up!" Naruto roared, slamming his forehead into Gaara's with skull-cracking force. Blood trickled down both their faces as Gaara's eyes flew open in shock. The massive sand body began crumbling without the tailed beast controlling consciousness, sending both Jinchuriki plummeting toward the forest floor. They landed on separate branches, bloodied, exhausted, chakra nearly depleted. The one tail had fully receded, leaving only two battered boys facing each other across a small gap. "Why?" Gaara whispered, genuine confusion in his voice. "Why fight so hard for others? Why not live only for yourself?" Naruto wiped blood from his chin, smoke still wisping faintly from his fingertips. "Because without bonds with others, life has no meaning. Being alone, being hated, that's the real hell." "But the pain of connection," Gaara protested weakly, "is worth it," Naruto finished for him. "Trust me. I'm the same as you. I have a monster inside me too. The nine-tailed fox." Gaara's eyes widened. "Then your smoke is partly because of the fox." "Yeah," Naruto nodded. "But I'm learning to make it mine. Just like you can learn to be more than just a container for your demon." For a moment, something like hope flickered in Gaara's eyes, perhaps the first genuine hope he'd felt in years. "I'm out of chakra," Naruto admitted, his strength finally giving out as he began to fall. Before he could hit the ground, a flood of sand rose to catch him, gently lowering him to the forest floor. By the time Sasuke and Sakura reached him, Gaara and his siblings had vanished, retreating from a battle that had changed at least one of them forever. Black banners hung throughout Konoha 3 days later, rain falling in gentle sheets, as though the heavens themselves mourned. The funeral procession wound through the village center, hundreds of ninja and civilians alike dressed in formal black attire. The third Hokage had fallen defending the village against Orochimaru, sacrificing his life to seal his former student's arms, denying him the ability to perform jutsu. Naruto stood stoically in the downpour, raindrops mingling with tears on his whiskered cheeks. Beside him, Konohamaru sobbed openly for his grandfather, while Irika placed a comforting hand on both their shoulders. "He died as he lived," Jiraiya murmured, appearing at Naruto's side, protecting what he loved most, this village and its future. As the ceremony concluded, the mourners filed past the altar to place white flowers in tribute. When Naruto's turn came, he paused, a small wisp of smoke curling from his fingertips despite the rain. "I'll make you proud, old man," he whispered, the smoke briefly taking the shape of a tiny, flickering flame before dissolving in the rain. Later, as the crowd dispersed, the Hokage's personal advisor, Hamura, approached Naruto with an unexpected revelation. Before his death, the elderly counselor said, "Hiruzen asked me to give you something." He handed Naruto a sealed scroll bearing the Hokage's personal mark. Alone in his apartment that evening, Naruto broke the seal with trembling fingers. Inside was a brief note in the third's elegant handwriting. "Naruto, if you are reading this, then I have joined those who went before me. Do not grieve over much. Death is but another duty we accept when we choose the path of the shinobi. Regarding your unique ability, Jiraiya informed me of your progress, and it confirms a suspicion I've held since you were a child. Your mother, Kushina Uzumaki, came from a clan primarily known for their sealing techniques and extraordinary life force. But there are records suggesting distant relations to a lesser-known family, the Kamuri clan, smoke weavers who perished during the Second Shinobi War. Perhaps the Nine-Tails sealing awakened this dormant bloodline within you. Or perhaps it is simply another way the universe works in mysterious patterns, giving you a power uniquely suited to your indomitable spirit. Whatever the case, I have faith that you will continue to grow into a fine shinobi who will one day surpass even the greatest of the Hokage, including perhaps the fourth, who believed in you from the very beginning. Continue to fan the will of fire, Naruto. I will be watching proudly from the Pure Land. Hiruzen Sarutobi, third Hokage of Konohagakure. The smoke that curled from Naruto's fingertips as he clutched the scroll was tinged with grief, but also with something else, the burning determination to live up to the faith placed in him by the old man who had watched over him from the beginning. Outside his window, a gust of wind cleared a patch of storm clouds, revealing a single brilliant star shining in the darkness like a distant flame, keeping watch over the village hidden in the leaves.